Chapter 1404. And those devil vines that were chopped up into pieces seemed to be drained of their vitality by some power. In an instant, they withered and turned into a barren land. The long sword spun in the air and returned to the little baby's hand. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but the originally broken long sword seemed to have recovered a lot after absorbing the vitality of the devil vines in this garden. The little baby lowered his head and looked at the fat rabbit that was happily jumping at his feet. His expression was a little lonely as he murmured, "Bunny, by Sia's vitality, has recovered a little. But how long will it take to break through the restriction? Xiao Bao really misses Nyangqin. Where is Nyangqin? How far away is she from me? Is Nyangqin injured? Is she sad? Is she cold or hungry? Will Nyangqin forget Xiao Bao?" The fat rabbit jumped into his arms and gently bumped its head against his chest. Then, it used its soft fur to rub against his chin and howled. Although it's very happy to be with the little master every day, and there are a lot of delicious food in this secret territory, this rabbit also misses the female devil. It turned out that this little baby was Xiao Bao. After Xiao Bao and Mu Yin endured the god-slaying tribulation together, he lost consciousness. And when he woke up, he found himself in this strange secret territory. There were countless elixirs in this secret territory. Even if Xiao Bao didn't recognize these elixirs, he could still feel their rarity. At first, Xiao Bao was very happy to see these elixirs, because he knew that if he picked all these elixirs and brought them back, Nyangqin would definitely be happy. But very soon, Xiao Bao discovered that there were not only precious elixirs in this secret territory. There were also powerful and ruthless vicious beasts and terrifying bloodthirsty devil plants. In the beginning, Xiao Bao and the fat rabbit were chased by these vicious beasts and devil plants, cutting a sorry figure. If it weren't for the fat rabbit's devouring ability, they would have already died on the first day. At that time, Xiao Bao almost thought that he would never see Mu Yin again. However, they soon encountered a turning point. In the center of this secret territory, there was a huge open space. Not even a blade of grass grew around the open space, and no beast dared to take a step closer. And in the middle of that empty space, there was a broken black longsword. Xiao Bao was being chased by the demonic plants and ferocious beasts, so he accidentally stumbled into this empty space. The moment it stepped into the empty space, the fat rabbit wailed in pain. She fainted in Xiao Bao's arms. The demonic plants and beasts that were chasing after Little Treasure all stopped outside the clearing, not daring to even take a step closer. "Bunny? Bunny, what happened to you?" Xiao Bao called out to the fat rabbit in his arms in a panic. At this moment, an old and deep voice resounded from the depths of his soul. "Are you willing to form a contract with me?" Xiao Bao jerked his head up. "Who's talking?" The black sword hovering in the air swayed slightly. "I am the evil warding sword, an ancient divine weapon. Are you willing to form an agreement with me? I can help you to dominate the four seas and become a supreme celestial lord." Xiao Bao blinked and angrily glared at the black sword. "You hurt my bunny. Who wants to form a contract with you?" The Bixia sword seemed to freeze for a moment, and even the light around it dimmed. Chapter 1405. Xiao Bao's handsome little face is cold, and he shakes his head without hesitation. "No." "Why?" "Because you're too ugly." Xiao Bao answers methodically. "Nyangqin likes beautiful things. You're so ugly. Even if you gave it to Nyangqin, Nyangqin wouldn't want it." There's one more sentence that Xiao Bao doesn't say. He can feel that this sword is very powerful, but it's not as powerful as Nyangqin's Tian Mo Qin. Since it's not as good as the Tian Mo Qin, and is even uglier than the Tian Mo Qin, Nyangqin wouldn't like it even if he gave it to Nyangqin. Then why would he want it? The Bixia sword shakes violently, simply unable to believe this result. Then, that old and deep voice, full of mystery, turns into a low roar of exasperation. "Are you kidding? Do you know how many people in this world want to get the Bixia sword? Do you know that the largest sect in the Xian boundary trapped me in this Fushi secret territory, grinding away day and night, just to reduce my power and control me? Anyone would go crazy for an ancient secret protector like Lousy. You actually despise me for being ugly. Despise me for being ugly. How am I ugly? Xiao Bao doesn't say a word, not even looking at him. He turns around and walks away with the fat rabbit in his arms. In Xiao Bao's view, what Nianqin doesn't like is equal to what he doesn't like. What he doesn't like is naturally useless. However, Xiao Bao hasn't taken 2 steps. Suddenly, he feels a cold whistle approaching from behind. As soon as he turns around, he sees that the black sword that was just hanging in the air is actually coming straight at him. Xiao Bao's expression changes. He wants to dodge, but he's 1 step too late. However, the expected pain of being pierced by the sword doesn't come. Just as the tip of the sword is about to touch him, it suddenly turns around and then gently cuts a small wound on his arm. Blood drips down from the wound. The black sword quickly sinks down, very consciously and nervously catching the blood. The blood falls on the sword and suddenly disappears without a trace. Dark red lines gradually appeared on the originally pure black longsword. Those lines grow until the entire sword is completely covered. Xiao Bao is still a little confused, not knowing what's going on. He hears an insolent laugh. Haha, you dare despise Lousy, but now you still have a contract with Lousy. However, the laughter became softer and softer until it disappeared without a trace. Following that, the red veins on the long sword gradually faded away. After the red color faded, it fell to the ground with a clang. However, the appearance of this black long sword could no longer be described as shabby. The hilt of the sword had rotted away, and the blade was chipped. It was like a piece of scrap metal. If they were to be sold outside, not to mention crystal stones, they might not even be able to sell for a single copper coin. With a cold face, Xiao Bao covered his bleeding hand and kicked the broken sword aside. He was about to leave. However, with every step he took, the broken sword bounced and followed him. He walked 10 meters, and broken sword followed him 10 meters. Xiao Bao frowned and looked down at Bai Xie. Don't follow me. After saying this, Xiao Bao thought he would hear that noisy voice again. Unexpectedly, the sword swayed, but it was silent. Just as Xiao Bao was puzzled, the worn-out sword straightened up with great effort and started drawing on the ground. Fuck, your level is too low. Chapter 1406. Hurry up and help me fix it. Xiao Bao chuckled, bypassed the broken sword and walked forward. The Bixia sword was anxious, and it quickly jumped up, continuing to carve words on the ground. Don't you want to improve your strength? Xiao Bao stopped. Of course he wanted to improve his strength, because only when he was strong could he protect his mother. He didn't want his mother to be injured again and again, even risking her life to protect him. But what he wanted was true strength, not to rely on a broken sword. Seeing that Xiao Bao was about to leave, the Bixia sword hurriedly continued carving. There is a way to improve your strength in this secret realm. I will take you to find it. The condition is that you help me fix it. Seeing these words, Xiao Bao hesitated. The Bixia sword immediately sensed it and continued carving. I can also take you out of this secret realm. Oh. The last sentence instantly broke all the defenses in Xiao Bao's heart. What he wanted the most right now was to leave this place and return to his mother's side. And when he was being chased by the demonic plants and vicious beasts, he also tried to find a way out, but he found that this secret realm was set up with a powerful seal that he couldn't open. Xiao Bao bent down and picked up the huge sword. The Bixia sword excitedly made a buzzing sound. If it turned into a human voice, it would be a proud and arrogant laugh. Xiao Bao held the fat rabbit, raised his head, and murmured softly, "Rabbit, for a moment, I seemed to feel that my mother was by my side. I seemed to have heard my mother's name." The fat rabbit tilted its head, somewhat puzzled. It didn't hear it, and the Bixia sword on the side hummed mockingly. "Heard my ass." The seal of this secret realm prevented spiritual power, talismans, and sound from passing through. Xiao Bao lowered his head in disappointment. He slightly pursed his lips, clenched his fists, and tried his best to endure. But he couldn't help it, and crystal-clear tears moistened his long eyelashes. Gently hanging down, he appeared so fragile and beautiful, making people crazy to want to take pity on him, to want to give him the best of everything in the world. The fat rabbit whimpered twice, arched its head against Xiao Bao's body, and stuck out its tongue to lick his hand, trying to comfort him. Xiao Bao softly said in a low and hoarse voice, "I know it's impossible, but I really miss Mother, even if it's just to hear Mother's name." "Mother, do you know how much Xiao Bao misses you?" For the rest of the day, Xiao Bao was in low spirits. After all, he was only a 5-year-old child. No matter how strong one's mind was, no matter how early one matured, there was still a tenderness and fragility that a child could not bear. The fat rabbit stayed next to him nervously and worriedly, hoping to give him some warmth with its own body temperature. The Bishia sword, on the other hand, was infuriatingly drawing on the ground. "What's the use of being sad? I already told you that no sound can come in. You must be hallucinating. If you want to get out of here as soon as possible, the only way is for me to level up. I'll take you out." Xiao Bao gripped the sword in his hand expressionlessly. Sensing another wave of demonic plants approaching, he prepared himself for battle. However, the longing and sadness in his eyes did not dissipate. At this moment, he was even thinking, has Mother already forgotten about Xiao Bao and no longer loves Xiao Bao? Otherwise, why hadn't Xiao Bao received any news after such a long time? Chapter 1407. Then, a faint voice could be heard. "Changing Master, Lingtian ranking. Changing Master, Nirvana ranking. Number 1, Changing Master. 3 rankings combine. The Lord of the Azure Sky ranking is born. The Lord of the Azure Sky ranking. Yi Liang Chun. Yi Liang Chun. Yi Liang Chun. Yi Liang Chun." In a trance, there seems to be a ray of light falling down, softly covering Xiao Bao and the fat rabbit's body. It's like a mother's most gentle comfort. Xiao Bao suddenly widens his eyes, and the long sword in his hand falls to the ground with a clang. He raises his head, his blue eyes flickering with a burning light, staring at the top of the secret territory. It's obviously just a black rock, but he seems to see the blue sea and blue sky. He sees a beautiful woman with her arms open, waiting to embrace him. Xiao Bao clenches his fists tightly and asks with a hoarse and tender voice, "Bunny, did you hear that?" The fat rabbit raises his head and tilts his head. He heard the voice. That broken sword is really unreliable, saying that no sound can come in here. But who is that Yi Liangchun? Why is the little master so excited? That's Mother. Xiao Bao lowers his head. His long eyelashes are wet with tears again. But this time, his cold and delicate little face shows a trace of a gentle smile. "Bunny, that's Mother." The fat rabbit immediately tucks up his long ears. "That's not right. It's clearly called Yi Liangchun, not Junmayan. How can it be a female devil?" As if he sees through the fat rabbit's doubts, the curve of Xiao Bao's lips deepens. Yi Liangchun is Mother. Xiao Bao knows, in the whole world. Only Xiao Bao knows, because only he and Mother have seen Bailey Liuin's notes. Even that lecher doesn't know. So, the name Yi Liangchun is the voice that is transmitted to him. The only voice that is transmitted to him is only his voice. Mother is using this method to tell him, "Xiao Bao, Mother also misses you. Mother is looking for you. Quickly come back to Mother." Xiao Bao suddenly raises his hand, covers his face with his sleeve, and wipes it as if to hide it. When he puts it down again, the little handsome face has restored to its expressionless indifference. Only those red-blue eyes betray the fact that he just lost his virginity. Xiao Bao bent down and picked up the Bishia sword again. Xiao Bao didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt as if the power in his body had increased by a lot. When he held the Bishia sword, a fearless courage surged in his heart. It was as if something had quietly come to his side to protect him. She told him not to be afraid and not to look back. He only needed to move forward bravely and do what he wanted to do. The Bishia sword was still shaking, expressing its amazement. How is this possible? Not many people on the cultivation continent could break the seal of this place. How could the sound come in? Xiao Bao held the Bishia sword, which was even bigger than his body, in front of his chest, and said in a crisp, cold voice, "Bi Xie, what's the fastest way to leave this place?" Bai Xie waved his sword and was about to answer. The corners of Xiao Bao's lips curled up slightly, revealing a faint, innocent smile. "Forget it, I don't want to listen to your method. It's too slow. If I destroy this mystic realm, I'll be able to get out." Bai Xie. Chapter 1408. Going back to one day ago. The news of Yi Liangchen topping the Linglong list shocked the entire Starry School. Chun Ping, Wu Gui, and Fatty Zheng were so excited that they were dancing. They were even happier than if they were the ones on the Linglong list. Even the entire Starry School was excited. Everyone knew that Yi Liangchen was a new student of Starry School after Wei Tianming was expelled. Starry School's Linglong list had been dominated by Lu Jinhang from Fengtian School for so long. All along, that high and mighty name had been the shame of Starry School. But now his name had finally been pushed down. Moreover, it was pushed down by a new student who had not even broken through to the Golden Core stage. To the people of Starry School, this was a huge slap to Fengtian School's face. They could finally straighten their backs and be proud. Unfortunately, the news of the Linglong list would not be spread to Spiritual Martial Arts School and Fengtian School. If not for the fact that Spiritual Martial Arts School and Fengtian School were too far away and that there was a barrier preventing entry, they would have used the photo talisman to record the Linglong list. They really wanted to use the photo talisman to record the Linglong list, then rush to Fengtian School and throw the talisman at the students' faces. That was the true arrogance and satisfaction of the people. Hey, who do you think this Yi Liangchen is? Does our Starry School really have such a person? If such a monster really exists, why hasn't anyone discovered it yet? Of course, Gaji is naturally from Starry School. Otherwise, who would have expelled Wei Tianming? Many people have seen Gaji before, but he changed his appearance. Gaji has always been low-key and doesn't want to be recognized. What do you think the people of Fengtian School would think if they knew that their genius Lu Jinhang was pushed down by a new student in the fasting period? Starry School has been suppressed by Fengtian School for so many years. This time, we can finally vent our anger. Mu Yin returned to Yaoguang Branch exhausted. As soon as she entered, the people of Xiaoyao School gathered around her. "Sixth senior sister, we're going to have a feast." Luo Yu grabbed Mu Yan's sleeve excitedly. "We must celebrate." Leng Yuma, yes, we must celebrate. I have long wanted to eat the spirit food of Jushin Building in Sangyan City. Junior sister, you can't be stingy. Mu Yin smiles faintly. You want to celebrate? Give me one more day. One more day? Why wait another day? Is little junior sister too tired? Chu Moli looks at Mayan's departing figure. The corners of his lips slightly curve up. Maybe junior sister wants to give us an even bigger surprise. Just as Mayan is about to return to her room, Yin Ruhan catches up to her. "Eldest senior brother, what's the matter?" Yin Ruhan smiled. "Nothing much. I just made a trip to the Tianguang ruins today. Bei Kue Xiang Nuan asked me to ask you if you want to attend some grand event in Tianguang ruins. It seems like there's a huge reward for winning." Mu Yin thinks about it and said, "Yes, I understand. But I'm a little busy these 2 days. After I'm done, I'll go to Tianguang ruins to take a look." Yun Ruhan blinks. Little junior sister just bought the 80,000 crystal alchemy cauldron a few days ago, but she didn't start making pills immediately. Now that she's at the top of the Linglong list, what else is she busy with? Thinking of Chu Moli's words, Yun Ruhan suddenly widens her eyes, her face filled with disbelief and shock. Chapter 1409. Fengtian Academy. Did you guys hear? The #1 spot on the Linglong list has changed. Starry School has reclaimed the Linglong list. What? Is that true? Are you kidding? The #1 spot on the Linglong list belongs to our senior brother Lu Jinhang. Who can take the #1 spot from him? It's true. I have a cousin in the Starry School. He just sent me a message talisman very proudly, Yi Futian said. The students in the Fengtian Academy fell into a short silence. Then, they could not help but shout. Who pushed senior brother Lu down? Is it that Ouyang? No matter who it is, his strength is still incomparable to our senior brother Lu. That's right. The difficulty of climbing the second Qingyan list will be increased by 10%. The fact that senior brother Lu can make it to the Linglong list means that his strength has far surpassed Ouyang. So what if Ouyang takes back the number 1 spot? At most, he can only catch up to senior brother Lu's tail. No, you guys are wrong. The number 1 spot on the Linglong list is not Ouyang, but the person did not finish his sentence. Suddenly, the entire Fengtian Academy shook violently. Then, a fiery red light shot out from the Nirvana list and flew into the sky. The fiery red light became bigger and bigger until it covered the entire Fengtian Academy and the Danyang mountain range. The light then turned into the shape of a giant beast. I am the spirit of the Nirvana Pagoda, Fengtian. I hereby announce, the number 1 spot on the Nirvana list has changed. The new number 1 spot on the Nirvana list is Yi Liangchen. The new Lord of Nirvana is Yi Liangchen. The entire Fengtian Academy fell into a dead silence. All the students and teachers could not believe their ears. However, in all the squares and in front of the Nirvana Pagoda, the names on the Nirvana list started changing rapidly. The name that had occupied the number 1 spot for many years finally changed at this moment. No, it can't be. How can the number 1 spot on the Nirvana list not be senior brother Lu? Who is this Yi Liangchen? Which school is he from? The male cultivator who had just announced that the exquisite list had changed hands weakly raised his hand. He said carefully, I was just about to say that the top of the exquisite list is not Ouyang, but the new student of the Starry School, Yi Liangchen. Oh, everyone in the audience gasped in shock. How is this possible? Are you kidding me? How could our Phoenix Sky Academy's Nirvana ranking be snatched away by the Starry School? The male cultivator swallowed his saliva and said with difficulty, My cousin still said that Yi Liangchen still hasn't broken through the gold core stage. The new students had not broken through to the golden core stage, and the difficulty had increased by 10%. However, the Nirvana rankings had changed hands. In other words, Lu Jinhang, the pride of the Phoenix Sky Academy, had been defeated by a freshman from the Starry School who was only in the fasting realm. The people of the Phoenix Sky Academy were going crazy. Where did Yap Liangchen come from? Why would such a genius go to the Starry School? Just as they were flustered in the wind, someone suddenly screamed. I received a message from my junior sister in the Spiritual Martial Academy. She said that Yi Liangchen is currently climbing the Soaring Sky ranking. Chapter 14:10. After that, someone laughed dryly and said, Haha, don't joke around. The difficulty of climbing the first Ascension rankings was normal. The difficulty of climbing the second Ascension rankings increased by 10%, but the difficulty of climbing the third Ascension rankings increased by an entire 30%. I heard that even a cultivator at the peak of the Jinan stage can only climb up to the 11th floor if the difficulty is increased by 30%. That's right. Otherwise, our senior brother Lu would have killed everyone on the Lingxiao leaderboard as soon as he entered the exquisite leaderboard. Slaughtering all 3 rankings would make him the true ruler of Qingyan sect. Many people dreamed of this title, but senior brother Lu had been working hard for 3 years and still hadn't achieved it. Who does he think he is? Do you really think you can become the master of Azure Sky? Just wait and see. He will soon back off in the face of difficulties. The sky gradually darkened, and there was no more news from the 3 great academies. The people from the Fengtian Academy and the Spiritual Martial Academy could finally rest in peace. However, no one knew if the people from the Phoenix Sky Academy would be able to sleep peacefully today. The night passed quickly and peacefully. However, just as the sky was about to brighten and dawn was about to break, suddenly, a yellow light shot out from the Lingxiao Pagoda and soared into the sky. I am the spirit of Lingxiao Pagoda, mortal spirit, I now announce. The number 1 of the Towering Sky ranking has changed. The new High Sky Master is Yi Liangchen. Everyone from the Spiritual Force Academy was dumbfounded. However, before they could recover from the shock, a voice suddenly rang out. Ling Long and the two Nirvana Pagoda's artifact spirits also soared into the sky. The Danyang mountain range stretched for thousands of miles and bordered by the Woodfern Sea and the wondrous Kite Desert. No matter how big the commotion in the three academies was, it would only be limited to the academies. At most, it would cover a portion of the Elixir Yang mountain range. But at this moment, the three great artifact spirits soared up into the clouds and then fused as one, erupting with a radiance that was as bright as the sun. It covered thousands of miles of the Danyang mountain range and half of the Woodfern Sea. Then, a simple and deep voice came from the distant sky. It was transmitted to every inch of land that was covered by the light. It was every inch of land. The three rankings combine into one, and the Master of the Azure Sky sect is born. The new Master of the Ascension rankings is Yi Liang Chun. The Master of the Ascension rankings is Yi Liang Chun. Yap Liang Chun. Yap Liang Chun. Boom! This time, it wasn't just the three academies. Half of the Azure Blue realm had exploded. The new ruler of the Azure Sky sect, please state your wish. As long as it's within the scope of the three academies and is reasonable, we can fulfill it for you. The three artifact spirits in front of him looked very strange, but their voices were all the same, stiff and mechanical. At this time, Mayan also knows that it's just like how there's a reward for becoming the top student of the school within 3 months. After becoming the Azure Cloud Lord, she could also obtain a wish, the Azure Cloud Wish. The authority and limitations of the Clear Sky Wish far surpassed that of the Exquisite Wish. Although the wish could only be made within the academy, there were almost no restrictions on the contents of the wish. Even if she proposed to revitalize the Yaoguang branch right now, the Yaoguang branch would not be able to do so. These three artifact spirits could also provide her with an endless supply of resources, allowing her to quickly expand and recruit people. But Mayan didn't hesitate to raise only one request. Chapter 14:11. Mu Yin enunciates each word. I know, he's near the Danyang mountain range. Of the three great academies, there's bound to be one that's adjacent to his location. I don't think this is going against the principle of the Clear Sky Wish. However, the leader, Fan Tian, shook his head. We can't sense the existence of the person you mentioned. How could it be? Mayan anxiously says, I'm sure. He must be nearby. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. Mu Yin bit her lips and resolutely said, All right, then I won't ask to see Xiao Bao right away. However, I hope that you can help me search the entire Danyang mountain range. Is that okay? However, Fan Tian still shook his head. The Clear Sky Wish can only be limited to the three academies. I'm sorry. Mu Yin tightly clenched her teeth, almost unable to restrain herself from punching that grotesquely shaped beast head flat. No one could understand what she was feeling right now. The baby was almost within reach, but when she stretched out her hand, she couldn't catch it. She couldn't see it. She had clearly felt a connection with Xiao Bao when she became the top of the exquisite list. She had clearly done everything she could. Why couldn't she see her Xiao Bao? Mayan's hands are clenched into fists, her nails deeply embedded in her flesh, dripping with blood. But she didn't notice anything. This was the only way she could ensure that she wouldn't lose control. In fact, what was the point of blaming these three artifact spirits? If it's so easy to find Xiao Bao, with Di Mingju's strength, how could he not find him? Mu Yin takes a deep breath, closes her eyes, and turns around to leave. It didn't matter. She couldn't be anxious. She couldn't be anxious. If she couldn't find him, she would search for him for another day. If she couldn't find him in a year, she would search for another year. If she couldn't find him in 10 years, she would look for him for another 10 years. One day, she would definitely find her treasure. Azure Cloud Sovereign, please wait a moment. You haven't made the Blue Cloud Wish yet. Mayan sneers. Since you can't fulfill my wish, what's the use of me wanting the Clear Sky Wish? With that, she turned around to leave. Yi Liang Chan, wait. Fan Xing suddenly stopped her again. Are you sure that the person you're looking for is near the Danyang mountain range? Mayan hesitantly nods. In fact, she was not sure, and neither was Little Phoenix. However, when she entered the Starry School, She really had a feeling. Xiao Bao was right beside her, not far from her. Ordinary Star tilted his head and said, "How about we combine the spirits of the three treasures and transmit your name and our power of will to every inch of the land around here? Whether it was the mountains, the sea of clouds, or thousands of miles underground, or even the deep sea. As long as it's within our range, we can guarantee that we'll be able to reach it. But the range is too wide. Even if the power of will seeped in, it will be reduced to almost nothing. Moreover, whether the person you're looking for is within this range is too uncertain. You have to be mentally prepared." Mu Yan's eyes suddenly brightened. "Good. I want this wish, even if there was only a slim chance. Even if this method was no better than finding a needle in a haystack. However, she would absolutely not give up on even the slightest chance of finding her Lil Bao." After returning from the Linglong Pagoda, Mayan shut herself in her room. People were celebrating and going crazy for the name Yulianshan. Chapter 14:12. The people of the Xiaoyao school knocked on the door several times, but Mayan dismissed them with the excuse that she was too tired. She didn't even see her youngest martial uncle. In the space, Qi Huang, this noble spirit rarely puts down his arrogance and keeps trying to make Mayan laugh. However, all he gets in return is a weak and pale smile from Mayan. If she couldn't find him, she wouldn't be so sad. But she clearly thought of a way, clearly felt a familiar aura close at hand. But when she reaches out to grab it, it's still empty. How can Mayan not be resentful and sad? At this time, Di Mingju isn't by her side. She doesn't even have someone she can rely on, someone she can complain to. The room was quiet. Even Qi Huang's noisy voice had disappeared at some point in time. Mayan slowly closes her eyes. Suddenly, the door opened with a creak. A figure walks in, the candlelight swaying, and a cool breeze blows in from outside. Mayan opens her eyes and looks at the person, frowning slightly. "I'm a little tired. I don't want to see anyone today. You go out first." Before she could finish speaking, Suzy has already strode forward and pulled her up. "Go out, what go out? This sage has finally come out. And you dare to let this sage go out? June Mayan, you're tired of living." Mayan widens her eyes in surprise. "Qi Huang? Humph, it's this great master." Mayan presses her temples with a headache. "Qi Huang, didn't I tell you that before Su Zi's illness is cured, you're not allowed to use his body again? Still not coming out for me." Qi Huang rolls his eyes and disdainfully says, "Isn't he just immortal? If he's dead, he's dead. What's the big deal?" Mayan's face sinks. "Qi Huang, return to the space, or I'll really get angry." Qi Huang's face sinks. A dark and bloodthirsty light seems to flash in his eyes. However, when he raises his head, he meets the girl's pale face and eyes that have lost their light. All the ruthlessness unconsciously recedes like a tide. He bites his lip. Su Zi's handsome and delicate face shows a trace of imperceptible grievance. Today, this sage will only occupy his body for a few hours, and I guarantee that he won't die. Is this okay? Saying that, he grabs Mayan's hand. There is one thing that this sage can only do when he has a physical body. "Ju Mayan, quickly come with me." Before Mu Yin can react, she has already been dragged out by Qi Huang. The duo passed through the forest and entered the depths of the Danyang mountain range. Qi Huang suddenly lifts up, and Mayan feels a pulling force at the center of her divine sense. Immediately afterwards, the Tian Mo Qin impressively appears in Qi Huang's hands. Mu Yin widens her eyes in surprise. Ever since she made a contract with the Tian Mo Qin, the Tian Mo Qin has only ever listened to her orders. Apart from Xiaobao, no one else would be able to produce any effect even if they touched the zither strings. But at this time, Qi Huang unexpectedly pulls the Tian Mo Qin out of her body. However, thinking that Qi Huang is the spirit of the Tian Mo Qin, Mu Yin feels relieved. Qi Huang lifted the hem of his robe and sat down on the ground, his slender fingers pressing on the strings of the zither. The bright moonlight fell on him. It was clearly Su Zi's appearance, But Mu Yin felt as if she could see through this body and see the unruly youth in the fiery red clothes. The next moment, the sound of the zither suddenly rang out. The golden spears and armored horses swallowed the mountains and rivers, and thunder rumbled. Mu Yin jumps up in fright. She didn't expect that Qi Huang would play the zither without the slightest bit of overdrive or transition. Chapter 14:13. However, along with the sound of the zither, Mu Yin finds that there are obvious changes in her surroundings. Countless tiny fluorescent lights flutter from the mountains, like stars all over the mountains, and also like the brilliance of fireflies. Those lights flutter between the mountains, jumping in joy under the moonlight, so beautiful, so moving. Mu Yan's eyes are full of amazement as she watches this scene. She can feel that Qi Huang is using the Shen musician skill. But this skill is completely out of her reach at this time. It seems to have some connection with myriad plants resonating, but it is far more powerful than myriad plants resonating. Just then, Mu Yin hears Qi Huang's somewhat weak and hurried voice. "Hurry up and call your son." Ben Zun's light and dust blending can't last long. Even if you can't see him now, at least you can hear his voice with your own ears. Mu Yan's breathing suddenly stagnates. "Qi Huang, are you serious?" You cannot believe Ben Zun. No, she believes. Mu Yin takes a deep breath, then shouts towards the vast Danyang mountain range, towards this gloomy and boundless night. "Xiaobao, Niangqin misses you very much. Can you hear me? Xiaobao, don't be afraid. Niangqin will definitely find you." In the dark night, there is only the cold moonlight and the increasingly passionate sound of the zither. Mu Yin lowers her eyes in disappointment. Sure enough, there is no response from Xiaobao. Perhaps Xiaobao is not nearby. But at this time, the night wind blows gently. Mu Yin hears a faint voice that is lighter than the sound of the wind. That voice is not ringing in her ears, but in her heart, in the depths of her soul, over and over again. "Niangqin, Niangqin, Niangqin." Mu Yin suddenly closes her eyes, tears streaming down her face, but the corners of her mouth hooks up into a shallow smile. Qi Huang looks up at the girl, crying under the moonlight. He suddenly stops playing the zither and clutches his chest. His eyes are flashing with a burning, painful, and struggling light. Almost at the same time, in the Yaoguang branch courtyard, Luo Yunxiao suddenly awakens from her sleep, clutching her chest and looking in the direction of the Danyang mountain range. Her expression changes, but her eyes are filled with inexplicable horror. "Master, what's wrong?" Chiwen rubbed her eyes and asked. Luo Yunxiao doesn't answer, but quickly gets up and goes to Mine's room. After realizing that there was no one in the house, he frowned. He slowly walked to the gate of the Yaoguang branch and stood there for a long time. Even when his body was frozen, he didn't move a single step. When the moon was full in the west tower, two figures appeared at the entrance of the Alcade branch. Mu Yin and Su Zi came in one after the other. Seeing Luo Yunxiao standing outside in her undergarments, Mayan is surprised. "Junior Martial Uncle, it's so late. You're still awake." Luo Yunxiao's gaze fell on Su Zi without blinking, her eyes dark and gloomy. Su Zi also raised his head, his chin slightly raised, a faint smile on his face, arrogant and unruly. There was even a hint of bloodthirsty, killing intent in the depths of his eyes. Mu Yan's heart skipped a beat. She quickly stepped forward and stood in front of Su Zi. "Little Martial Uncle, what's wrong?" "This is Su Zi. Don't you recognize him?" Luo Yunxiao shakes her head, her gaze returning to Mayan. "Are you all right?" Mayan is startled. Then she smiles gently. "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, little Martial Uncle." Luo Yunxiao nods, turns around, and leaves. Chapter 14:14. She can't help but feel some warmth in her heart. Qi Huang coldly snorts and says in disgust, "Pretentious gigolo, with bad intentions and no sense of shame. Jun Mayan, I'm warning you, stay away from this kind of person. If you dare to fall in love with this kind of trash, I'll cut off all ties with you." Mine doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. She turns back and heavily knocks the youth's forehead. Chi Huang, I seriously suspect that you're secretly in love with my younger martial uncle. Otherwise, why would you jump every time you see me with younger martial uncle? You're actually jealous of me, aren't you? June Mine, do you want to die? Who would fall in love with that gigolo? Believe it or not, this sage will strangle you. Mine smiles and dodges Chi Huang's attack and returns to the house. She turns around and shows a grateful smile, saying softly, Chi Huang, thank you for tonight. She knows that Chi Huang wants her to be at ease and happy, so he took the risk to possess Su Zi's body and even used a high-level Shin musician skill. Chi Huang curls his lips. It's good that you know. For you, this sage has consumed a lot of origin. I'm telling you, Jun Mayan, if you don't get a lot of good things to compensate this sage, you're dead. Saying these ruthless words, Chi Huang seems to be unable to hold on any longer. His body shakes, and a white light quickly drilled out of Su Zi's body, returning to the space. This time, he doesn't even have the strength to argue with Mayan, falling asleep on the grass. Mayan's eyes are full of guilt and gratitude. She takes a blanket and covers him, then turns back to look at Su Zi's body. Because of carrying two souls for a long time, Su Zi's body naturally can't bear it. At this time, his lips are purple and his breathing is short. Mu Yen promptly gives him acupuncture treatment and feeds him elixirs. Su Zi slowly wakes up. Little sister? Su Zi blinks in confusion. Why am I here? Mine's face is full of shame, finding it difficult to speak. I'm sorry, Zi. My spiritual pet saw that I was sad and wanted to make me happy, so he didn't abide by the agreement and possessed your body. Su Zi struggles to get up from the ground. There's no anger on his face. Instead, he asks with concern, Little sister, are you still sad? Mine shakes her head. I'm not. That's good. Su Zi revealed a sincere smile. It's Little Missy's spiritual pet. It's using my body to make Little Missy happy. Come to think of it, I'm the one making Little Missy happy. It's great that Little Missy isn't sad anymore. Muyin still felt guilty and wanted to apologize, but Su Zi interrupted her. Big sister, if you really feel sorry for me, can you answer a question for me? Muyin, ask away. Su Zi looked at her with a burning gaze. After a long time, he slowly opened his mouth. Little sister, are you Yi Liangchen, the one who topped the 3 academies and became the new master of Qingyan academies? Mu Yen stares blankly for a moment, then smiles carelessly. Why would Zi ask that? Su Zi took out a talisman from his pocket and revealed a bright smile on his handsome face. This is the talisman that little sister gave me. I only found out after I went to the Tingguang ruins that the person who drew this talisman is also called Ye Liangchen. That Yap Liangchun is a woman. Chapter 14-15. Speaking of this, Su Zi's eyes fell on Mu Yan's face, as if he was seeking confirmation or waiting for an answer. Sister, are you Yi Liangchen? Mu Yan smiled, took a sip of the cold tea, and said, Yes, I am Yi Liangchen. Su Zi obviously didn't expect her to admit it. He was dumbfounded for a long time. His eyes suddenly lit up, and the mole under his left eye shined brightly, giving him a sense of evil charm. Sister, you are so awesome. He counted his fingers and said excitedly, You can heal, play the zither, assist, and have such a powerful strength. Even Brother Lu Jinhang was completely trampled under your feet. By the way, did you draw those talismans? Those talismans are so powerful, better than what I can buy outside. Did you really draw them? Saying that, he tilted his head proudly. Now, if I tell others that I am Yi Liangchen's younger brother, the whole blue world will envy me. Mu Yin looked at his naive look, as if she was looking at her silly disciple, Liu Beiyu. Thinking of Liu Beiyu, the people of Hellfire Valley, and the laughter of the past, Mu Yan's face showed a dazed smile. She suddenly reached out and patted Su Zi's head, chuckling. Do you have the jade key to Tingguang ruins? Su Zi nodded obediently, yes. Mu Yin waved her hand. Go and wake up all the brothers. Su Zi was puzzled. Wake them up? Sister, what are we going to do? Mu Yin revealed a mysterious smile and said leisurely, of course, continue to slaughter the list. Su Zi. Xiaobao, do you hear Mother calling out to you? Did you hear the news that Mother passed to you? If not, then Mother will let the name Yi Liangxin spread further and louder. Since we can't find you, then Mother will stand in the same place, emitting a dazzling light, so that no matter where you are in the world, you will definitely see Mother and return to her side. Tingguang Ruins. As soon as Mu Yin entered the shop, North Sunflower Xiang Nuan greeted her with joy. Sister Yi, you are finally here. But very quickly her little face fell. But the first round of the glorious heavenly light competition is about to end. Even if we participate now, I'm afraid it's too late. The Flourishing Heavenly Light was the largest competition and grand event that was held in the Tingguang Ruins once every 3 years. The main deciding factor was the King of Trade in Tingguang Ruins. Flourishing Heavenly Light was divided into nearly 10 categories, such as elixirs, magic tools, talismans, shops, employment. If one could enter the top 3 of the categorized rankings, the participant would be exempted from all expenses in the Tingguang Ruins for the next year. Those who ranked first in the categorized ranking would receive additional rewards. This year's reward was a rank 9 aircraft, the Rainbow Cloud Carpet. Luo Yu almost drooled when she saw the reward. Now that the Xiaoyao school was rich, they could rent flying boats to enter and leave the Alcade institution. However, it was still very painful to buy an aircraft. Even if he bought one, he would at most be able to buy a 5th-grade aircraft. He had never even heard of a rank 9 aircraft, much less seen one. Chapter 14-16. 6 Senior Sister. This is good. This is good. We want this. North Sunflower Xiang Nuan looked like he was about to cry. If Sister Yi had joined Golden Heavenly Light from the very beginning, she would have definitely gotten into the top 3 of the categorized ranking. But now, more than half of the competition has passed. The other people's points are already very high. If we start catching up now, how can we make it in time? Mu Yin looked at the description of Flourishing Heavenly Light on the virtual announcement, but her eyes didn't stop on the rewards on the classification list. Instead, he stared at the last row of explanations without blinking. The Flourishing Heavenly Light Ultimate ranking was not categorized in the entire Heavenly Light Ruins, and only the top 20 in trading points could enter. The person who obtained first place in the overall ranking would become famous throughout the entire cultivation world. Tingguang Ruins also had an unexpected gift for them. What 9th-tier flying treasures, what crystal stones, she didn't care about any of them. Right now, the only thing she cared about was making Yi Liangxin famous in the cultivation world. Mu Yin patted Xiang Nuan's head lightly and smiled. Go and sign up? Bei Kuei. Xiang Nuan nodded obediently and raised her head to look at Mu Yin with some hope in her eyes. Sister Yi, I'm going to register now. It's to register for the talisman vanquishing role, right? Mu Yin shakes her head. No, report the talisman list and the store list. North Sunflower Xiang Nuan's eyes lit up when he heard that. Sister Yi is indeed the smartest. Even if we can't make it into the top 3, we can at least make it into the top 20. Our appearance on the list will help the old master's #1 in the world become famous. Mu Yin smiles noncommittally. Luo Yu and the rest were curious about the current rankings, so they followed North Kuei Xiang Nuan to Rebirth Plaza, where the registration for the Golden Heavenly Light was held. When he saw the name that was ranked first on the talisman ranking, Luo Yu clicked her tongue and frowned. Why is it her? Lung Yumo revealed a look of disgust. How can she still have the face to jump around in the Heaven Light Ruins? The person ranked first on the talisman list was shockingly the Sacred Dance of Ice. An old acquaintance, Lu Ruoxuan. When Mu Yin sees Lu Ruoxuan's points, she raises her eyebrows in surprise. The points of Dancing Ice was far ahead of the second place. It wasn't like she hadn't seen Lu Ruoxuan's talisman drawing skills before. How could he have so many points? And if she remembered correctly, That day when Emperor Mingju and little martial uncle were in class, Lu Ruoxuan was driven out of the Alcade branch. It was said that her fate was incomparably miserable. He was even ostracized by the entire Starry School. Even in this situation, this woman could still get up. Wasn't this heaven-defying luck a little too strange? When Mayan turns her gaze away from the talisman list and turns to the general list of the flourishing heavenly light. Even with her composure, she couldn't help but exclaim, "Damn, this gap is too big." Lu Ruoxuan had more than 2 million points on the talisman list. That was more than twice as many points as the second place. But the problem was that Lu Ruoxuan's points were not even in the top 100 of the flourishing heavenly light list. As for the first place, it was the number 1 on the elixir list. Lung Yuyao had more than 20 million points. All the points on the entire talisman rankings were added together, yet they couldn't even catch up to a fraction of his. Mayan is looking at Lung Yuyao's points on the overall list with a frown. At this moment, a feminine voice came from behind. "Yap Liang Chun, long time no see." Mu Yin turns around to look. Chapter 14-17. She was petite and had delicate features. However, she had put on a coquettish and heavy makeup, and her entire person exuded a mature and charming charm. Amidst this kind of amorous feeling, there was a trace of strange incompatibility. In particular, her eyes, which flickered with burning ambition, caused her entire person to appear somewhat sinister and treacherous. Mu Yan's pupils shrink, and she says in a low voice, "Dancing of the ice?" "Ah!" Lu Ruoxuan laughed, and her voice became more and more coquettish, as if it contained infinite temptation. "Why are you so surprised, Goddess Yi? Don't tell me you don't recognize when—" Mayan slightly narrows her eyes, her expression sinking. It was normal for her not to recognize Lu Ruoxuan. The charming, seductive, and licentious woman in front of him was completely different from the pitiful woman who wept like a little white flower every day. As if seeing through her doubts, Lu Ruoxuan's smile became even more gentle. "The reason why I can become like this is because of Goddess Ye's contribution. I really want to thank God Yi. On the other hand, God Yi, you don't seem to have changed at all." Lu Ruoxuan looked at North Sunflower Xiangnuan, who had just returned from his registration. She flashed a disdainful expression. "How long has it been? My number 1 shop in the world is still selling third-grade talismans. TSK, TSK. Is there really anyone who would buy such low-level, crappy talismans?" A young man who was walking beside North Kue Xiangnuan immediately retorted, "I don't know who was the one who shamelessly pretended to be our boss Yi, but he couldn't even draw a lousy third-grade talisman. Now that I think about it, the feeling of being slapped in the face in public must be very interesting." The person who spoke had the words "elegant brome" above his head, glittering with silver light. He was Yap Liangchen in Guobin, the number 1 loyal fan of Laozi's shop in the world. Ever since he'd visited the number 1 under the heaven shop for the first time, confident brother Guobin had come every day to make an appointment to buy third-grade talismans, rain or shine. Slowly, he got to know Bei Kue, Xiangnuan, and the others better. As for Yi Liangchun, the talisman master, he admired him even more. When he heard Lu Ruoxuan humiliating his idol, how could he endure it? Sure enough, hearing his words, Lu Ruoxuan's face twisted. Those unbearable past were like a stain on her life. Whenever she thought of it, she would go crazy with hatred. Jun Mayan and Yi Liangchun had brought all the stains on her life. Lu Ruoxuan wiped her face with her hand. By the time she put her hand down, her face had already regained its flirtatious smile. What happened before was just a misunderstanding. God, you shouldn't stoop to my level, right? Seeing that Muyin doesn't answer, her eyes turn, and she suddenly takes out a stack of talisman papers from her bosom. These are 5th-grade soul-cleansing talismans that I personally refined. I'll give them to everyone as an apology for what happened before. Carefree brother curled his lips in disdain. Bah, who cares about your talisman? It's as if I've never seen a 5th-grade talisman before. Humph, he wouldn't be tempted even if it was a grade 5 talisman. He was determined to defend Boss Yi. Unexpectedly, just as he finished speaking, Mu Yin reached out and took the stack of talisman papers. There was not the slightest hint of shame on his face. Then I won't stand on ceremony. The moment the talisman entered her hand, Mu Yin felt a trace of cold and gloomy aura overflow from those talisman markings. Chapter 1418. Lu Ruoxuan suddenly said, Yi Liangchun, I heard that you also signed up for the heavenly light of Golden Age. We are also competitors. Why don't we use this glorious heavenly light as a guide to have a fair competition? Competitor? Mayan sneers, with just you? Do you deserve it? Bei Kuei Xiang Nuan said angrily. Our sister Yi just started to sign up today, but you want her to compete with you. What fairness? Do you have any shame? Lung Yumal laughed. Little K, you are wrong. When did this woman have any shame? Deep hatred flashed in Lu Ruoxuan's eyes, but she quickly suppressed it. She stared at Mayan and smiled contemptuously. After saying so much, Yi Liangchun, you just don't dare to compete with me, right? Mayan smiled, brushed her clothes, and said casually, What's the bet? Lu Ruoxuan was startled. Mayan looked at her disdainfully. You don't think that I will be interested in competing with you if there is no bet? You are worthy? Lu Ruoxuan clenched her teeth and then giggled. Good. Of course we have to increase the bet. How about this? The loser has to kowtow to the winner 3 times when they meet, no matter when and where. Are you kidding? Boss Yi, she is deliberately tricking you. Don't agree. Yes, sister, she has more than 2 million points. There are only 9 days left before the end of the competition. How can we win? Mu Yin, however, laughed softly. She had the most ordinary appearance in Tianguang ruins, but her smile was like 100 flowers blooming, bright and beautiful like the sun. She even overshadowed Lu Ruoxuan's heavy makeup. After Mayan smiled, she said slowly, Okay, deal. Lu Ruoxuan bitterly looked at Mayan's disdainful expression. She gritted her teeth, sneered, and turned to leave. Yi Liangchun, you can only be proud now. Soon, you will kneel in front of me and cry, kowtow, and beg for mercy. Hee, I don't only want you to kneel in Tianguang ruins. I also want you to kneel in reality, Lu Ruoxuan. He was the champion of the Linglong, Nirvana, and Transcendent Clouds lists, the lord of the clear sky world, and a proud son of heaven who had shaken half of the azure blue world. But he humbly knelt at her feet, kowtowing and begging for mercy. Lu Ruoxuan crossed her arms in front of her chest and hugged her trembling body. The smile on her face was crazy and twisted. At the thought of such a scene, she was so excited that she couldn't control herself. Miss, are you all right? A male cultivator passing by saw her shrinking back with her arms wrapped around her chest and her body trembling. He couldn't help but step forward and ask. Lu Ruoxuan raised her head, revealing a coquettish face. Her red lips parted slightly as she exhaled towards a man. Senior brother, my chest hurts badly. Can you massage it for me? The male cultivator's face was flushed, and his eyes were blurred. He seemed to want to retreat, but he also wanted to move forward. Lu Ruoxuan directly grabbed his hand, pressed it on her heaving chest, and even rubbed it. Her voice became more and more delicate. Senior martial brother, after you rub row feels much better. The male cultivator gulped down a mouthful of saliva. However, Lu Ruoxuan had already grabbed his hand and put it into her clothes. Chapter 1419. I happen to be in Tianluo City. Lu Ruoxuan smiled like a flower and snuggled into the arms of the male cultivator. That's great. Xian, I will be waiting for you in the first room of the Drunken Moon Inn tonight. Senior brother, you must come. In the first room of the Drunken Moon Inn in Tianluo City, the figures of a man and a woman were entangled together, and from time to time there was a sound that made people blush and their hearts beat faster. However, an hour later, the man's breathing became more and more rapid. Gradually, he began to cry for mercy intermittently. An hour later, Lu Ruoxuan pushed away the man who was crawling on her, and her eyes were full of disgust and contempt. She saw that the man who was strong an hour ago had become as thin as a stick. At this moment, he had become as thin as a stick, and his hair had dried up and fallen off. His appearance seemed to have aged several decades in an instant. After being pushed away by Lu Ruoxuan, the man reached out and wanted to grab her clothes. His mouth kept making a ho-ho sound, and his eyes were full of fear and resentment, but he could not say a word. Lu Ruoxuan smiled disdainfully and raised her hand to slap the top of the man's head. Then, from her heart, a plume of black smoke floated out and covered the man's body. It didn't take long for the man's body to rot and stink, and finally disappeared without a trace. The body disappeared, and the black shadow floated and condensed into a human figure. It was the appearance of an enchanting woman. A strange, sharp voice suddenly sounded in the room. "Tut, my strength is too low, and my root is too poor. At most, I can only maintain a human form for a moment. Lu Ruoxuan, didn't I ask you to find me a high-quality furnace?" Seeing this woman, Lu Ruoxuan's eyes flashed with fear and disgust. That day in the valley, when Lu Ruoxuan was on the verge of death, she accidentally awakened the soul living in a skeleton. The soul was called Mei Xin, who was a demoness who specialized in practicing the joyous union demonic skill. She killed people like flies and did all kinds of evil. 100 years ago, she was strangled by the famous righteous sections. But the demonic skill she practiced allowed her to retain a part of her soul and hide it in her own skeleton. She did not wake up until Lu Ruoxuan's blood dripped into the skeleton. Mei Xin used the demonic skill to save Lu Ruoxuan's life. The price was that Lu Ruoxuan had to constantly seduce male cultivators to dual cultivate with her. Through the joyous union demonic attack, she used the man as a cauldron and sucked them dry to restore her soul. As Mei Xion's soul became more and more solid, Lu Ruoxuan's cultivation also increased rapidly. Now, she had already returned to the Enidia stage. However, her personality also began to change greatly. Even now, without the nourishment of a man for a few days, her whole body was hot and unbearable. Unfortunately, she was in the Starry School now. The Starry School was protected by a powerful barrier, and the dean was patrolling day and night. If any one of them died, she would not be able to escape responsibility. In desperation, Lu Ruoxuan could only go to the Tianguang ruins to hook up with her prey. However, the quality of the men she found was naturally uneven, and Mei Xin was not satisfied. Lu Ruoxuan put on her clothes and said with grievance, "Madam Mei Xin, I also want to serve you. However, my current cultivation is too low. I can't even come into contact with those high-quality cultivation furnaces." Chapter 1420. Lu Ruoxuan gritted her teeth and lowered her eyes to hide the light in them. "Madam Mei Xin, I also want to find you the best furnace. But you have to help me first so that I have enough power and strength." Mei Xin asked, "What do you want?" Lu Ruoxuan's eyes emitted a cold light. "I want to climb to the top of the talisman list and defeat Yi Liangshan. At that time, everyone will attach importance to my existence, worship me, and worship me. At that time, wouldn't it be easy for you to obtain any high-quality cauldron you want?" "Oh, what's so difficult about that?" Mei Xin said disdainfully. "Didn't I teach you to draw the 5th-grade soul-cleansing talisman? Can't you beat a little girl at the stage of fasting?" Lu Ruoxuan's eyes darkened. "No, it's not enough. Madam Mei Xin, do you know who Yi Liangshan is? He is the only master of Qing Yun's sect to climb to the top of the Ling Long, Nirvana, and Ling Shao lists in hundreds of years. And his current cultivation is only at the stage of fasting. Countless people want to buy the 3rd-grade talisman drawn by him every day." Lu Ruoxuan suddenly smiled. "Moreover, Yi Liangshan is a man in reality. If I can beat him and make him your furnace in reality, with such a talent, I'm afraid you will be able to fully recover soon, right?" Hearing the last sentence, Mei Xin was indeed moved. She licked her lips and let out a sharp laugh. Okay, then I will teach you to draw a 5th grade talisman. Once this talisman is out, I guarantee that everyone will buy it crazily. No one can take the first place away from you. At that time, don't forget to send that soft and tender boy to my bed. I want to enjoy him personally, GGG. Lu Ruoxuan raised her eyes, which were full of excitement and resentment. Laozi's #1 shop in the world was bustling with people. From time to time, people shouted, "Give me a 3rd grade talisman." In the back room of the shop, Muyin sat in front of the table and kept drawing talismans. The speed was so fast that it almost left after images. Suzy looked at this scene and couldn't close his mouth for a long time. After talking with Mu Yin, he directly fell asleep because of physical exhaustion. Therefore, he arrived at Tianguang Ruins half a day later than the others. Seeing this scene as soon as he arrived at the Heavenly Light Ruins dealt a heavy blow to his young heart. Suzy felt as if he had forgotten what drawing talismans was. In the past, in the Su family, which of the talisman masters didn't bathe and cleanse their bodies, calm their minds, and burn incense and pray before they dared to draw? Moreover, it would take at least 2 hours to draw a grade 4 talisman. After he was done, he had to rest for an hour before he could continue. But the Mu Yin in front of him, the talisman paper is spread out on the small broken table. The table swayed from time to time, while Mind's brush is flying. She can also strike up a conversation with the people next to her from time to time. In this way, she finished drawing a talisman in less than the time it took to drink a cup of tea. Suzy rubbed his eyes and looked around. However, he discovered that Yun Ruhan and the others were not surprised by this scene, as if they didn't find it strange at all. Even North Sunflower Xiangwan was looking at Mu Yin with admiration. But he doesn't seem to feel that there's any problem with Mu Yan's speed and efficiency in drawing talismans. Suzy wondered if he had entered the Tianguang Ruins in the wrong way. Chapter 14:21. Junior, did you take Lu Ruoxuan's talisman because you think there's something wrong with it? Lung Yuma suddenly asked, holding a talisman in her hand. Muyin didn't stop drawing the talisman. She looked up and asked, "What do you think, 4th seniors?" Lung Yuma frowned. "I don't know, but I feel a chill when I hold this talisman." Hee. We'll know if there's a problem if we try it. Luo Yu snatched it and burned the talisman with his spiritual power before anyone could react. The next moment, Luo Yu's face showed an intoxicated expression, as if the talisman made him feel extremely comfortable. Mu Yan's expression changed. She quickly threw away the cinnabar pin and stepped forward. Silver needles appeared in her hand, and she pierced them into the acupuncture points on Luo Yu's head. Luo Yu let out a muffled groan as beads of sweat began to form on her forehead. Then, a wisp of black smoke came out from the top of his head. As soon as it came into contact with the air, it disappeared without a trace. Luo Yu burped in a daze and asked in confusion, What is this?" Mu Yin frowned. "I'm not sure, but it's definitely not something good. This talisman seems to contain not only spiritual power, but also a very evil energy." Luo Yu jumped in fright and said with lingering fear, 6th senior sister, could it be that I fell into a trap?" Mu Yin shook her head. This energy is very subtle and is only used to support the talisman. If used in small amounts, it's no different from a normal soul-cleansing talisman. But if used for a long time, I'm afraid. Yun Ruhan slapped Luo Yu's head. The calm and gentle eldest senior showed a rare look of anger. "Let's see if you still dare to be so bold and try anything." Luo Yu shrunk his neck and patted his chest in fear. Then, he hugged Mu Yan's arm and showed his cute dimples. I'm not afraid. 6th senior will save me anyway." Yun Ruhan glared at him and frowned. How could Lu Ruoxuan draw such a strange talisman? A few months ago, she couldn't even draw a 3rd grade talisman. Now she can draw a 5th grade talisman. Who would believe it? North Sunflower Xiangwan quickly added, "That's not all. I've also heard that Lu Ruoxuan's current talisman drawing speed is rather fast. An ordinary talisman refiner would require at least a few hours to draw a 5th grade talisman, but I've heard that Lu Ruoxuan can draw one in an hour." Moreover, a fifth-grade talisman of hers was sold for 10 top-grade crystals. Now her talismans are put up for sale in big shops, and she can earn tens of thousands of points a day. That's why her ranking is rising so fast. You can draw one in an hour? Ling Yuxing was shocked. Even the tutors of the Starry School can't draw a fifth-grade talisman in an hour, right? What happened to Lu Ruoxuan? Su Zi couldn't help but raise his hand and ask, But isn't little sister faster than Lu Ruoxuan? That wasn't just one piece of paper in an hour. It was more than a dozen in an hour. Lung Yuma waved her hand and said unconcernedly, Isn't it natural for junior sister to be powerful? What's so amazing about that? Z, you're young and inexperienced. It's normal for you to be surprised. You won't be surprised if you stay with us for a long time. Chapter 14:22. Haha, that's right, he must have entered the Tianguang ruins in the wrong way. But soon, Su Zi's eyes fell on Mu Yin, and his face was filled with deep worship and infatuation. Just then, there was the sound of hurried footsteps and the shout of elegant bro, sold out, sold out. Guru Yi, little Kue, sold out. Quick, do you still have stock? What? Sold out? Mayan raised her head in surprise. If she remembered correctly, she had just given him thousands of third-grade talismans. How could they be sold out so quickly? These were all accumulated in the past. Because the old man is number one under the world store had limited sales every day. Therefore, even though Mu Yin was a slacker and wasn't diligent in drawing talismans, she still managed to accumulate quite a bit of stock. She was thinking of using these stocks to fill the gap in the grand Heavenly Light competition. But only half a day had passed, and they were all sold out? North Kue Xiang Nuan did not find it strange at all. She stood up and proudly raised her chin. Sister Yi, don't you know? You have a lot of supporters in the lower and middle districts of Tianguang ruins. A few days ago, when the grand Heavenly Light competition had just started, they came to ask when you would participate. They had prepared a lot of crystals to support you. Now that they heard you signed up, they all rushed over. What are thousands of talismans? Even if there were 10 times more, they would be snatched up immediately. Elegant Bro brushed his hair and said proudly, I got the advantage first. I secretly bought 1,000 of those thousands of talismans. This is a big profit. When I go back, Grandpa will definitely praise me. Ouch! Little K, don't, I was wrong. Before Elegant Bro could finish, his ear was pulled by North Kue Xiang Nuan. Wabin, you've gone too far. Those people are Sister Ye's supporters, and they came to support our number one under the world store. There weren't enough talismans to go around, and you actually hit 1,000 for yourself. Don't you have any shame? Ouch! Ouch, ouch, little K, I was wrong. I won't do it again. These aren't Boss Ye's talismans. They're too rare. I'd be a fool not to snatch them now. Mayan puts down her pen, stands up, and walks to the front yard of the shop. Due to the setting of Tianguang ruins, a shop like the Old Man is number one in the world could only accommodate a maximum of 100 customers. Therefore, the shop was not crowded. However, the entrance of the shop was packed with people. Seeing Mu Yin come out, the crowd immediately became restless and screamed, Boss Yi has come out? Great God, Yi! I heard that there are enough talismans today. Is that true? I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Boss Yi, I heard that you want to participate in the flourishing Heavenly Light. Even if we use up all the crystal stones in the Heavenly Light ruins, we will definitely support you. What is that dancing ice snow? Wasn't she defeated by Boss in the past? Our boss Liang Chun is invincible and invincible. Wherever our Liangchen army goes, they are invincible, and not even a blade of grass grows. Mu Yin can't help but laugh as she listens to the shouts of her subordinates. At this moment, a trembling old man walked out from the crowd. Chapter 14:23. Miss Yi, this old man has always wanted to thank you personally. Thanks to your talismans, my chronic illness has finally begun to heal. And my wife, who was hovering on the edge of life and death, suffering unbearably. It was you who extended her life for a while, and finally closed her eyes with a peaceful smile. Me too. I also want to thank Miss Yi. We, the loose cultivators with low cultivation, don't have enough crystal stones to buy elixirs, and we can't afford those high-level talismans. But your third-grade talisman only needs one mid-grade crystal stone, and its effect is better than a fifth-grade crystal stone. Moreover, Miss Yi never differentiates between customers. Even the young master of the Fu family has to line up to make an appointment. I'm an uncouth man, I don't know what to say. What we can support Miss Yi is limited, but as long as we can contribute, we will do our best. Yes, Miss Yi is so good. Lousy's #1 shop is so good. If we don't support them, who should we support? Since Lousy's #1 shop is called Lousy's #1 shop in the world, it's too unreasonable not to take first place. Listening to the messy voices below, Muyin only feels a burst of soreness in her heart, and her eyes feel a bit wet. Lousy's #1 shop in the world actually doesn't have many customers who spend money like water. But these people take out 120% enthusiasm, the most sincere heart, to support her, to support the #1 shop. Muyin takes a deep breath and says in a clear voice, since they are all old customers, little K, note down that everyone here will get a 20% discount when buying talismans in the shop. North Kue Xiangwan is startled. Miss, 20% discount is fine, but have you forgotten that we are now participating in the flourishing heavenly light? The points on the ranking list are all converted according to the number of crystal stones traded. Moreover, you still have the bet with that dancing Bing Raw. I think it's better to give this discount after the flourishing heavenly light is over. Yes, Miss Yi, don't try to be brave. We all know how you feel about us. I just completed a very large employment task and earned a lot of crystal stones. And thanks to the defensive talismans I bought here, I escaped from death. Now I have a lot of crystal stones to buy your talismans. To put it bluntly, Miss Yi, if you sell them to us at the original price, we can sell them for twice the price. Why do you still want to reduce the price? Boss Yi, you don't need to give us a 20% discount. We swear to follow you until death. I think that Boss Yi might as well directly raise the price. Such a good third-grade talisman. Only selling it for a mid-grade crystal, it's really too wasteful. Muyin doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. It doesn't matter, even if there's a 20% discount, I can still win. Pausing for a moment, she raised her chin slightly. Her expression was indifferent, but it also carried the disdain of a monarch. You don't believe me? Ayo. Boss Yi is mighty. We pledge our lives to believe in Boss Yi and follow Boss Yi. Muyin raises her hand and presses the air. It was as if he had pressed some kind of button. The huge crowd instantly quietened down. Pairs of sparkling eyes stared at Muyin, their faces full of worship and trust. Muyin smiled faintly and said, "Third-grade talismans have been sold out today." How could this be? I came here today for the third-grade talisman. Didn't you say that there would be enough third-grade talismans today? Chapter 14:24. Only Brother Sheik touched his nose guiltily, not daring to look at everyone's eyes. Then, Muyin leisurely spits out a sentence. Today, there are no third-grade talismans for sale, but there are fourth-grade talismans for sale. An ordinary fourth-grade talisman is priced at 10 mid-grade crystals, and a variant fourth-grade talisman is priced at 1 high-grade crystal. Today, there is an unlimited supply of fourth-grade talismans, but there is a limited supply of mutated fourth-grade talismans. First come, first served, the crowd burst into an uproar. The latter part of Muyin's words were directly drowned in a burst of cheers. A fourth-grade talisman. The #1 shop in the world finally has a fourth-grade talisman. Get up, all of you. Today's mutated fourth-grade talisman is mine. No one is allowed to snatch it from me. Someone couldn't help but ask, Missy has always only been able to draw third-grade talismans. Do her fourth-grade talismans still have such a great effect? But before he could finish his words, he was drowned out by curses. Are you kidding me? Our Bossia's products must be the best. Is there a need to try? Yeah, if you don't want to buy it, then get lost. Don't occupy our seats. Woof, woof, woof. Mutated 4th grade crystal. Here I come. Casual bro stared at the shelf filled with talismans. Mutated grade for crystal stones. If I buy it back, Grandpa will be overjoyed. However, before he could rush out, little Ka grabbed his ear. Gwabin, if you dare steal from me again, I'll ignore you. Facing the young girl's arrogant scolding, casual bro immediately cowered. I don't dare. I don't dare. Little K, I'm just looking. North Sunflower Xiang, Nuan snorted coldly. The only reason I agreed to let you work at the #1 shop in the world is because you were Big Sister Ye's #1 supporter. If you dare to do anything to Big Sister Yi, humph. Easy bro immediately begged for mercy with kind words. And only then did North Sunflower Xiang Nuan's gloomy mood brighten up. However, when he thought about how he couldn't buy such a rare and precious variant grade 4 talisman, Elegant Bro's heart ached so much that he wanted to beat his chest and stamp his feet. However, compared to the mutated 4th grade talisman, he was more afraid that little Ka would be angry at him. At this moment, a stack of talismans suddenly appeared in front of the two of them. There were 10 sheets in each stack. The top 3 talismans were shockingly variant grade for talismans. Easy Bro and North Sunflower Xiang Nuan raised their heads in shock and saw Mu Yan's smiling face. During this period of time, you've managed the world's #1 shop very well. This is your bonus for this month. After saying that, he stuffed the talismans into their arms and left. Now that she owed a pile of talisman debts, she couldn't just rely on Tianguang ruins to complete them. Now, she can only go to the space and use the Tian Mo Qin to draw talismans in batches. This time, Lu Ruoxuan's talisman was not sold in earth-shattering sky. Instead, he directly consigned them to a big shop called Cloud Lake. Cloud Guest was one of the largest shops in Tianguang ruins. There were branches in the upper 3 districts, middle 3 districts, and lower 3 districts. Many wandering cultivators and mercenaries consigned their items here. Cloud Lake was already bustling with people, and now, because of Lu Ruoxuan's talisman, there was an even longer queue outside. Many male cultivators glanced at the shop from time to time, their eyes filled with lust and greed. Chapter 14:25. Yes. What's more, it is a 5th grade talisman. Although it is expensive, the effect is not bad. Suddenly, a sharp man's voice sounded. Have you heard? That Yi Liang Chun from Lousy World's #1 shop also participated in the Glorious Heavenly Light competition. In the end, a talisman can only be sold for a few middle-grade crystal stones. He still wants to climb up the classification list. What a joke. A few middle-grade crystal stones for a talisman. Doesn't that mean he has to sell 1,000 of them to be able to match one dancing ice? 1,000 of them. Can that Yi Liangchun draw that? Yi Liangchun. Why do I feel that this name is familiar? At this moment, there was a commotion and a shout from not far away. Quickly go to the reincarnation square and look at the ranking list. That Yi Liangchun. TSK. What can Yi Liangchun do? Can he climb up to the top 100 of the talisman list? With a few middle-grade crystal stones for a talisman? Ha. Don't make people laugh. The person who came could be counted as a loyal fan of Lu Ruoxuan. At this moment, he did not have the slightest intention to laugh. Instead, he breathed heavily and said, No, not the top 100. That Yi Liangchun has already entered the top 20 of the talisman list. As soon as he said this, the surroundings of Yun Lake became quiet for a moment. Then, someone laughed out loud. I say, Brother Wang, are your eyes playing tricks on you? I specially went to inquire about it. The most expensive talisman sold by Lousy World's #1 shop is only 1 upper-grade crystal stone. Moreover, the daily sales are limited. The other talismans are pitifully dozens of middle-grade crystal stones each. How can they be ranked in the top 20? The person who was called Brother Wang slapped his thigh. If you don't believe me, follow me and you will know. A group of people came to the reincarnation square. Since the glorious heavenly light competition started, the reincarnation square was often filled with people. From time to time, there were waves of enthusiastic cheers. But usually, there were only a few people surrounding the talisman list. But at this moment, it was filled with people. Ha! Boss Yi is indeed Boss Yi. The talismans are sold so cheaply that he only used 3 days to enter the top 20. The dancing ice sword is nothing. Our Liang Chen's army is invincible. Not even a blade of grass can survive. It's only a matter of time before the first place falls into our hands. Look at the list of shops. Our lousy number 1 in the world has also entered the top 50. As they spoke, Yi Lianchen's name appeared on the talisman ranking. Up! Up again! He's already in the 14th place. Ha! I think he'll be able to enter the top 10 tonight. The higher they climb, the harder it is for others to climb, but our boss climbs faster and faster. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters looked at the list in disbelief. He rose to the 14th place in 3 days? How is that possible? Didn't you say that Yi Liangchun can only draw 4th-grade talismans at most, and he only sells them for 10 mid-grade crystals each? How many did he have to sell to get that many points? Fake. This is definitely fake. Elegant Bro was the number 1 loyal fan of Yap Liangchen. Naturally, he knew Lu Ruoxuan. Chapter 14:26. Go back and tell Bing Ruo to wait for Boss Yi. When she sees Boss Yi, she should kowtow to him. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters looked terrible. Someone could not help but refute. Bing Ruo is the number 1 in the talisman ranking. Yi Liangchun is still far away from her. Why are you showing off? Elegant Bro sneered. Not satisfied? Why don't we make a bet? If Boss Yi wins, you guys have to kneel down and call us Grandpa when you see Liang Chen's army. How about that? Haha, right? Kneel down and call us Grandpa. You have to call us Grandma? My good grandson. Let's see what happens first. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters said. Don't go too far. Elegant Bro sneered. Cut the crap. Do you dare to make the bet or not? None of Liang Chen's army is afraid of you. Right? Let's make the bet. If you don't want to make the bet, get lost. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters were annoyed. But looking at Yi Liangchen's increasing speed, they were not so confident. With this speed, it was only a matter of time before Yi Liangchen could catch up with Bing Ruo. In the end, these people did not dare to say anything. They left with their tails between their legs. Elegant Bro and his supporters were cheering for their victory. They left the reincarnation square with their heads held high, as if they had won a war. Although Boss Yi was powerful, they could not let their guard down. He had to spare no effort to promote Boss's talismans to everyone. Why could Yi Liangchen's ranking increase so fast? It was because Boss Ye's talisman was too good and too cheap. Basically, as long as they tried it once, they would not be able to resist the urge to buy it. Lu Ruoxuan supporters returned to the front of Cloud Guest with a belly full of anger. They looked at the top-grade talisman hanging outside the shop. It cost 800 upper-grade crystals for one. Suddenly, they did not want to buy it anymore. They heard that although Lousy's number 1 shop only sold 4th-grade talisman, its effect was much better than 5th-grade talisman. Most importantly, a 4th-grade talisman was only sold for 10 mid-grade crystals. Why should they waste their money here? I heard that Lousy's number 1 shop even gave its regular customers a 20% discount. Fuck, a 4th-grade talisman only costs 8 mid-grade crystal stones? Alas, I heard that there's a variant talisman that has an effect comparable to a 6th-grade talisman. It's limited in quantity and can only be chanced upon by luck, but regular customers have priority to purchase it. Yi Liangchun is so confident. He dares to offer discounts while attending the flourishing heavenly light. No wonder the customers of the number 1 shop in the world support Yi Liangchun so much. On the other hand, a few of them looked at the price on the shop and couldn't help but shake their heads. They were disheartened and planned to leave. Right at this moment, there was a sudden commotion in the cloud gathering in. Then, a seductively dressed woman walked out of the shop. She was wearing a low-cut top that exposed her navel. There were no pants on her lower body, only a few sparse tassels hanging down. As he walked, his fair thighs and his faintly discernible crotch appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Gulp! Many male cultivators couldn't help but gulp. Seeing them like this, Lu Ruoxuan giggled and walked down. Chapter 14:27. After teasing them until their faces turned red and their breathing quickened. Only then did she retract her gaze and said in a sweet voice, "It's all thanks to everyone's support that I, Bing Ruo's desolate dance, can achieve such results today. Since that Yi Liang Chun gave us a 20% discount to thank our customers, I, the dancing eye sword, naturally have to show my sincerity." With that, she smiled flirtatiously. In fact, Lu Ruoxuan was leaning towards the innocent side. It was not suitable for such seductive makeup and dissolute behavior. However, when she smiled at this moment, her eyebrows seemed to have faintly transformed into the image of a mature and seductive woman. All the male cultivators present felt their blood boiling, and they wanted nothing more than to pounce on him and press him under their bodies. Looking at the perverted expressions of the men around her, Lu Ruoxuan laughed even more happily. In these past few days, I just happened to successfully draw a new type of Grade 5 talisman, and it's called the Eternal Talisman. Those who use this kind of talisman could extend their lifespan, increase their cultivation, and even make old people return to their youth. This heaven-defying talisman was painstakingly drawn by me, Shi Wu. However, in order to thank everyone for their support, I will be giving everyone an immortal talisman for free today. I hope that everyone will continue to support this dance in the future. As soon as they heard that there would be free 5th grade talismans, everyone in front of Cloud Lake became excited. The crowd immediately surged forward and snatched the talismans that were distributed. Even those people who originally didn't intend to buy the talismans, with the thought that it would be a waste not to take advantage of the situation, rushed up one after another. Lu Ruoxuan looked at the greedy appearance of these people who were snatching the talismans, and the corner of her mouth rose into a mocking and cold smile. Snatch it, snatch it. You will soon learn that there is no such thing as a free lunch in the world. Ha 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 ha. As long as she had the immortal talisman, would she still have to worry about not having enough points? Yi Liangshan, you are destined to kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. Another 3 days passed. Yi Liangshan's ranking on the talisman ranking had risen to the 2nd place. In just 6 short days, he went from 0 points to tens of millions of points, and he was ranked 2nd in the categorized leaderboard. This result could be said to be extremely heaven-defying. However, at this moment, the atmosphere in Lousy's #1 shop wasn't good. Elegant Bro frowned and paced back and forth in the shop in frustration. How could this be? Our points are already very high, but why is the dancing Ice Nose points increasing faster than ours? Beikue Xiangnuan was so anxious that he almost cried. That Bing Ruo Ming Wu is too shameless. She actually sold a Grade 5 talisman for 1,500 high-grade crystal stones. Isn't this daylight robbery? 1,500 high-grade crystal stones. That's almost the price of a 5th-grade medicinal pill. But Cloud Lake's group of people seemed to have gone mad, desperately fighting to buy it. They weren't that crazy when they sold it for 100 high-grade crystals. What's going on now? Luo Yu frowned and said, "Sixth senior sister, do you think those people who bought Lu Roma's talismans are stupid? Why are there so many people buying at such a ridiculous price?" Easy Bro said eagerly, "Boss Yi, as the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Why don't I go buy an immortality talisman and try?" Mu Yin slightly narrows her eyes, just about to say that there's no need. Chapter 14:28. Mu Yin raises her eyebrows, stands up, and walks outside. Sure enough, it's Lu Ruoxuan who enters the shop. Compared to the last time they met, Lu Ruoxuan's clothes are more revealing today, and her behavior is more unrestrained. Surrounding her were a few men with intoxicated expressions. Lu Ruoxuan doesn't shy away from pulling and touching them. Several old men in the dad is the best in the world frowned in disgust. Muyin hasn't said anything, but Elegant Brother says angrily, "Bullshit. How can our boss Yi lose? You said there are 3 days left, but it's not time yet. We don't know who will kneel to whom in the end." Lu Ruoxuan chuckles, takes out several talismans from her bosom, and throws them on the ground. The eyes of the male cultivators around Lu Ruoxuan turn red when they see these talismans. They can't wait to snatch them. However, Lu Ruoxuan only glances at them, and they tremble all over, not daring to move. Lu Ruoxuan looks at Mu Yin and the other people in the shop, and says faintly, "Seeing that you are so pitiful and are about to lose, I'll give you these talismans." "Haha, Yi Liangshen, I'm afraid you won't be able to draw talismans in your next life. I'll let you country bumpkins broaden your horizons with these pictures." After that, Lu Ruoxuan chuckles and leaves. The male cultivator, who is walking at the back, comes to himself and looks at Elegant Brother with bad intentions. "Master Gua, last time you said you would make a bet with me. If Yi Liangshen loses, you will kneel on the ground and call me Grandpa. I don't know if you still dare to bet now." Elegant Brother's face turns red, and he suddenly raises his voice. "Let's bet whoever doesn't dare to bet is a grandson. Wang Jinbin, I'm waiting for you to kneel in front of me and call me Grandpa." This Wang Jinbin is the young master of the Wang family, and the Gua family that Elegant Brother Guabin belongs to is a local tyrant. It can be said that the two families are afraid of each other, and they have been fighting against each other for decades. Wang Jinbin laughed out loud and left after hearing Carefree Bro's words. Before he left, he said maliciously, "You guys better experience those grade 5 talismans carefully. Only then will you know the difference between Yi Liangshen and our dancing ice frost." As Lu Ruoxuan left, in the shop, he couldn't help but squat down, wanting to pick up those few grade 5 talismans. Muyin suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Don't touch these talismans." The people in the shop are startled, and they all look at Mu Yin in surprise. "Almighty Yi, what happened to these talismans?" Mu Yin says faintly, "If you want to live, then don't touch these talismans." After hearing what she said, most of them gave up. However, there were also a few people who couldn't stand it and wanted to take advantage of him, so they kept the talismans while muttering. Mu Yin didn't stop such a suicidal person. With a wave of her hand, she collected the remaining eternal talismans. However, he didn't touch it with his hands. Instead, he wrapped it with the yellow talisman paper. When they returned to the inner shop, Easy Bro immediately asked, "Boss Yi, is there a problem with these talismans?" Mayan holds a talisman between her 2 fingers, and the spiritual power within her body suddenly surges. The talisman flew into the air and quickly burned. A peculiar fragrance filled the air. The few of them revealed intoxicated expressions, and Easy Bro even let out a comfortable moan and sigh. Chapter 14:29. Especially Easy Bro, who was enjoying it the most. More black smoke drifted towards him. Muyin quickly takes out the Tian Mo Chin, and the strings suddenly vibrate. With a clang, the sound of the zither turns into a blade, flying straight towards the black smoke, quickly engulfing it. Relaxed Brother suddenly awakens. Looking at the talisman that is burned to the end, he reveals a horrified expression. "What just happened?" Bei Kue Xiang Nuan also nervously says, "Sister Yi, is there a problem with that talisman?" Muyin looks at the remaining talisman in her hand with a cold expression. A chill flashes through her eyes. These talismans, once used, will make people feel like they're walking on clouds, unable to stop. However, as long as they use 2 more, they will begin to devour the vitality of the human body, and the body has already become addicted to the effects of the talisman. A person's willpower alone cannot restrain it. "What?" Relaxed Brother exclaims. "Isn't being Ruowu cheating?" "No, I have to go to the reincarnation square to expose her. Muyin shakes her head. It's useless. Those people have already been controlled by the immortal talisman, and no one will admit it. Lu Ruochuan will instead make a false accusation. What should we do? Do we just watch Bing Ruo will use such a despicable method to win against Sister Yi? Moreover, Sister Yi still has a bet with her. Lung Yuma slaps the table and angrily says, "Then, junior sister, when you see her in the future, you really have to kowtow to that slut? No. How about I go and kill her now once and for all?" Relaxed brother grits his teeth. "I'll go back and find my grandfather now. Even if I have to go bankrupt, I'll still support Boss Yi to win." Mu Yin smiles slightly. "No need to be nervous. It's not the last moment yet, is it?" Saying that, she playfully glances at relaxed brother. "I'm afraid you'll have to call that Wang Jinbin grandfather. Boss Yi, at this time, you still have the mood to joke with me." Relaxed brother doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. "It's a small matter for me to kneel down and call him grandfather. But who are you, boss? How can you kneel down to others? What's more, that Bing Ruo Wu is such a good-for-nothing, using such a sinister method. If she wins, where is the justice?" Mu Yin holds a cinnabar pin in her hand and gently twirls it, then casually says, "Rest assured I won't lose, and I won't let you call me grandfather. Young Master Gua, inform them that tomorrow the store will." Before Mu Yin could finish her words, Chu Moli suddenly spoke up. "Little junior sister, why don't you leave this matter to me?" Mu Yin looks up in surprise at this third senior brother, who rarely speaks. Chu Moli smiled faintly. His smile was warm and bashful. "It's just dealing with this kind of clown. There's no need for junior apprentice sister to use her trump card. I guarantee that in 3 days, your points will rank first in the categorized rankings, and you will enter the top 20 in the overall rankings. As for that heaven-defying talisman in your hand, save it for the finals of the flourishing heavenly light." Mu Yin widens her eyes in shock, looking at Chu Moli as if she's seeing a ghost. How did third senior brother know that her trump card was a heaven-defying talisman? When Luo Yu and the others heard Chu Moli's words, they couldn't help but become excited. "Third senior brother, quickly tell me, exactly what method do you have to turn defeat into victory for little junior sister?" "That's right, third senior brother, don't keep us guessing. Now that life and death are at stake, it's time for you to use all your evil tricks." Chapter 1430. A person's reputation is like a tree's shadow. Say, if the people of the 3 academies and the Azure Blue domain know that the new master of the Clear Sky sect can draw talismans and has even participated in the glorious Heavenly Light competition, will they come and have a look? Lung Yuma's eyes lit up. Yes. There were tens of thousands of students in the 3 academies, not to mention the towns and cities around the Danyang mountain range and the Woodfern Sea. Everyone had heard of the name of the Green Cloud Lord, Yi Liangchun. If news of this gets out, who wouldn't want to come and take a look? Chu Moli continued unhurriedly. The most amazing thing about little junior sister's talismans is that as long as someone uses it, they will unconsciously submit to her, becoming her free advocate and propagandist. How could Yap Liangchun have such a high score? He had never relied on the support of those die-hard loyalists. Instead, it was the ordinary customers who might not even remember the name of the shop. Whether it was the effectiveness, purity, or price of the talisman, there was no doubt that it was worthy of praise. Just like that, the number of people buying the talismans grew larger and larger. Even if each person only bought 10 of them, the accumulated spar would be very considerable. But in the beginning, Mayan's die-hard support wasn't enough, and the speed at which it spread wasn't fast enough. Most of them were confined to the 3 lower districts. However, things would be different if they could involve the people from the other 3 academies. At that time, the number of people who knew about the lousy world's best shop and wanted to buy talismans would increase like a rolling snowball. Only North Sunflower, Xiangmuan, and Easy Guy were confused. Although they were from the Azure Blue Realm, they were in the north of the Azure Blue Realm and were quite a distance away from the 3 academies. Hence, The commotion of Azure Cloud's sovereign's birth had yet to reach their ears. Of course, it was only a matter of time before the name of the Azure Sky Lord, Yi Liangchen, spread throughout the entire Azure Blue world. But at this time, Easy Bro couldn't help but wonder, Boss Yi, are you very famous in real life? But even if it was famous, it shouldn't be able to attract many people, right? Are you more famous in the real world than in Tingguang Ruins? Currently, Yi Liangchen's name was well known in Tingguang Ruins, especially in the 3 lower districts. Everyone knew about him. To say that Boss Yi is more famous in reality, that is too ridiculous. Even the deans of the 3 great academies weren't that famous, right? Luo Yu looked at Easy Bro and shook her head. Young Master Gua, you're still too young. You will soon know how famous Junior Sister is. Starry School. The public lecture had just ended when a little fatty suddenly swaggered to the front and leaped onto the long table. Everyone listen to me! Zheng Jiabao yelled at the top of his lungs. Do you know that God Yi of our academy is participating in the glorious Heavenly Light competition? What? The students below couldn't help but be bewildered. I remember that Tingguang Ruins' flourishing Heavenly Light is mainly a popularity ranking. What can great God Yi participate in? Could it be a mercenary ranking? Zheng Jiabao raised a chubby finger and shook it lightly. No. Our Boss Yi is omnipotent. What can stump him? Who says that just because Boss Ye's martial strength is #1 in the academy, he can't be good at other support types? As for Yi Liangchen being the most powerful person in the academy, no one on the scene refuted him. Chapter 1431. Yi Liangchen was the undisputed #1 in all 3 schools. His title as the leader of Qingyan Star was not to be questioned. Fatty Zheng, tell us, what competition did Boss Yi participate in? Zheng Jiabao kept everyone in suspense and said loudly, Boss Yi participated in the talisman list. After a moment of silence, the crowd burst into an uproar. Are you kidding? Talisman list? The talisman used to draw talismans? Isn't that the least valuable auxiliary skill? I heard that Lu Ruoxuan also participated in the dazzling Heavenly Light list. Fatty Zheng, did you remember wrongly? Fatty Zheng's clumsy body jumped heavily on the table. Shut up, all of you shut up. No matter what competition Boss Yi participates in, is that the main point? The main point is that the dazzling Heavenly Light competition represents popularity and the power of supporters. Our Boss Yi is the leader of Qingyan Star, the light of Starry Star that helps Starry School regain its face and glory. How can Starry School tolerate Boss Yi participating in the competition but not getting first place? The crowd was immediately incited by Fatty Zheng. Those who worshipped Yi Liangchen could not help but shout as well. No, our Boss Yi must be first. First in combat ability, first in popularity, and first in talisman drawing. Yes, we are all loyal supporters of Boss Yi. As long as Boss Yi participates in the competition, we must support him. Amidst the hubbub, Zheng Xiaopeng continued to shout at the top of his lungs. Remember, now is the time for us to contribute our crystals for Boss Yi, to shine and shine. Whoever does not support us well is not worthy to be Boss Ye's underling, not worthy to be a student of our Starry School. If Boss Yi loses the competition or doesn't get first place, whose fault is it? It's our fault for not supporting him enough. Am I right? Yes. God Yi must be first. We are Boss Ye's followers, Liangchen's army. Wherever Liangchen's army goes, they are invincible and nothing will survive. Zheng Xiaopeng leaped down from the table and waved his hand, saying, Let's go and spread this news to everyone in the Starry School. We will gather at the Tingguang Ruins at noon today. We vow to send our Boss Yi to the throne of #1. Liangchen's army, gather. We swear to send our Boss Yi to the throne of #1. Phoenix Heaven Academy. Have you heard? That Yi Liangchen actually participated in Tingguang Ruins' Golden Heavenly Light competition. I heard that everyone in Starry School went to support him. Are you kidding me? It's not allowed to use force in the Tingguang ruins. What can Yi Liangchen do even if he participates in the flourishing Tingguang ruins? I heard that he is participating in the most useless talisman puppet rankings. Haha, is there something wrong with that yap's brain? Not only did he participate in the mercenary board, but he also participated in the talisman board? Isn't that something only useless assistant cultivators would learn? No, I have to go to the Tingguang ruins to take a look. What exactly is the talisman that Yi Liangchen drew? Me too, me too. I am more curious about Yap Liangchen's true face. Chapter 1432. Almost the same conversation happened in the Spiritual Martial Arts College. Therefore, the lower three districts of the Tingguang ruins were suddenly filled with people at 9 p.m. Especially the street where the old master is #1 in the world shop was even more crowded. If this was not the virtual Tingguang ruins, these people would have been trampled to death by each other. From this moment onwards, Yi Liangchen's points on the talisman list started to increase crazily. At the beginning, he was more than 10 million points away from Lu Ruoxuan. On the last day, the difference between the two was reduced to a mere 3 million points. This time, Lu Ruoxuan panicked. She quickly sent people to find out more information. When she found out that Yi Liangchen actually announced his identity, she gritted her teeth in anger. But soon, she revealed a sinister smile and walked towards the old master is #1 in the world shop with her people. From afar, after turning the corner, the shining words "Old Master is #1 in the world" appeared in front of them. A few months ago, this shop's signboard was so dim that it could not be seen at all. Now, even if they were a few streets away, they could still see the dazzling light from the signboard. It was obvious how popular the shop was. Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu were a pair of twin sisters who studied in the Fengtian College. This time, they specially came to the Tingguang ruins to take a look at the legendary Yi Liangchen and see who he was. At the same time, they bought a low-level talisman drawn by Yi Liangchen and humiliated him. However, when they arrived at the old master is #1 in the world shop, they realized that the scene here was completely different from what they imagined. They thought that Yi Liangchen's shop would definitely be in a mess. The people from the Starry School, Fengtian College, and Spiritual Martial Arts College would definitely be in a heated argument. Just like how whenever the three colleges met in the past, sparks would fly everywhere and even escalate into a fight. At the moment, the scene in front of the old master is #1 in the world shop was lively and extremely heated. However, the content of the argument was completely different from what Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu had imagined. Me, it's my turn to buy a talisman. I want a mutated 4th grade talisman. Any type is fine. Move. I've been queuing here for the whole night. It's my turn to buy it no matter what. Gaji, we're from the Starry School. We're your loyal supporters. Please sell us the mutated 4th grade talisman first. Why should those from the Fengtian Academy and Spiritual Martial Academy care about them? Yes. The mutated 4th level talisman should be sold to the Starry School's own people first. Hey, Starry School, don't go overboard. You guys always shout slogans that the 3 academies are like a family, and now you're treating us like this? Great Gaji, I'm from the Phoenix Sky Academy, but as long as you sell me the mutated fire grade 4 talisman, I'll be your loyal supporter from now on. Me too. Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu were dumbfounded. What kind of strange scene was this? Didn't the people from the Phoenix Sky Academy come to Tingguang ruins to mock Yi Liangchen? However, they all saw quite a few of their senior brothers and sisters in the enthusiastic crowd. Do these people still remember how they were so agitated and solemn before coming to Tingguang ruins? Chapter 1433. Senior brother Zhang was stunned for a moment. Yeah, I haven't seen Gaji yet. But never mind, these are not important. What's important is that these level 4 talismans are really effective, and they are so cheap. Anyone who doesn't buy them is an idiot. As he spoke, senior brother Zhang hesitated for a moment and passed a talisman to Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu. I didn't get the mutated talisman, but these normal level 4 talismans have already surpassed the effect of a level 5 talisman. Most importantly, they only cost 10 mid-grade crystals. 10. Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu took the talismans dumbfoundedly. Meanwhile, senior brother Zhang had already rushed forward and wanted to squeeze into the shop again to get the mutated talisman that was just displayed. Zhu Xiang and Zhu Yu looked at each other and were a little confused. Was Yi Liangchen really so powerful? Not only was his combat ability so powerful, but he was also so good at talisman drawing. At this moment, there was a commotion in the crowd behind them. A few people were pushed to the ground and cried out in pain. Then Lu Ruoxuan, who was dressed provocatively, walked forward with a group of muscular male cultivators. Yi Liangchen, come out! Lu Ruoxuan shouted at the top of her voice. You are not the leader of Starry School at all. Now you are pretending to be God Yi and scamming people here. How shameless are you? What do you mean? Zheng Jiabao and Jiang Xinyu, who were originally maintaining order in front, heard this and immediately jumped over. What do you mean pretending to be God Yi? Make yourself clear. Seeing that it was someone she knew, Lu Ruoxuan immediately put on a pitiful expression. But now that she was wearing heavy makeup, this expression seemed a little strange. Brother Zheng, we all know that the leader of Starry School, Yi Liangchen, is a man. However, the leader of Starry School, Yi Liangchen, is obviously a woman. How can it be God Yi of Starry School? As soon as this was said, many people at the scene were shocked. Yi Liangchen is fake. It can't be. Why not? I heard that the leader of this shop, Yi Liangchen, is indeed a girl. Are you kidding me? Although the talismans here are very useful, we are here for God Yi. If this isn't Guru Ye's store, why are we here? Not to mention those loyal to Yi Liangchen in the Starry School. Even though the Phoenix Sky Academy and the Spiritual and Martial Arts Academy were saying that they wanted to humiliate Yi Liangchen, they were actually admiring this legendary monster who was far superior to Lu Jinang. If the old man is number one in the world shop only sold talismans made by an ordinary talisman master, they would buy it because it was cost-effective, but they would never support it crazily. Listening to the discussions around her, Lu Ruoxuan revealed a smile of success. The muscular man beside her immediately shouted, Yi Liangchen, you imposter! Do you want to be a coward and not dare to come out? Yap Liangchen, come out if you can. Before he could finish his words, the few of them, including Lu Ruoxuan, suddenly felt pain on their faces. Then he was sent flying and fell heavily to the ground. When they raised their heads again, everyone noticed that there was a clear palm print on each of their faces. Chapter 1434. Especially Lu Ruoxuan. Her face is covered with blood, looking battered and exhausted. Even her makeup has been washed away by the blood. Her whole person is no longer seductive, but as ugly as a ghost. The injuries in Tingguang ruins can be automatically healed in the blink of an eye. The injuries on these people's faces are quickly healed, but each and every one of them looks at the shop entrance in horror and anger, only to see that there is an unprepossessing girl there at some point. The old customers of the old man is number one under the heavens, immediately cheer, Boss Yi. Boss Yi is mighty. But the people of the three academies have a bit of suspicion on their faces. Zheng Jiabao steps forward, squints his mung bean eyes, and asks, Are you really our Lord of Clear Sky, Yi Liangchen? Mu Yin looks at him with a smile that is not a smile. What do you think? Zheng Jiabao snorts. Don't try to deceive me. I have seen great God Yi. Your appearance is completely different from our boss Yi. The corner of Mu Yan's mouth slowly hooks up. Oh, is that so? Then I don't know if your unmentionable illness is different from before. Zheng Jiabao suddenly widens his eyes, takes a few steps back. You, what did you say? Mu Yin raises her eyebrows. Your unmentionable illness. Little fatty Zheng. Do you want me to say your unmentionable illness in front of so many people? No. Zheng Jiabao shakes his head like a rattle drum, his face full of fear. Boss Yi, please don't say it. But very quickly, his expression changes to excitement. You are really Boss Yi? But Boss Yi, how did you become a woman? Chun Ping in the crowd suddenly steps forward. In fact, none of us have seen Boss Ye's true appearance. I have seen Boss Yi several times outside the Tower of Delicacy, and his appearance is different every time. Moreover, as he says that, he and Wu Gui look at each other, and both take out a talisman. That day, Great God Yi gave me and Wu Gui 2 talismans. At that time, I felt that the mark on the talisman was very familiar, but now I know that it is clearly the same as the talisman mark of the old man is number 1 under the heavens shop. A little girl also raises her hand in the crowd, holding a talisman in her hand, and weakly says, I have also received Great God Ye's talisman. I believe that the 2 Yi gods are the same person. Zhang Xinyu said loudly. Moreover, don't forget that you can change your appearance and gender in the Tianguang ruins. Even if Goddess Yi is a man in reality, it doesn't stop her from being a woman in Tianguang ruins. The testimonies of the few of them made the loyal supporters of Yi Liangshun from the Starry School excited again. Ow, ow, ow. God Yi, I actually saw God Yi in real life. Please protect me, Great God Yi. I'll be your most loyal little brother from now on. Don't worry, Great God Yi. We'll definitely make sure you're number 1. Lu Ruoxuan's face twisted when she saw this. She didn't understand. What kind of magic does Yap Liangshan have? His identity was unknown, and he was a man and a woman. He had deceived everyone. However, she still made these people break their promise to her. What about her? In order to gain the support of these die-hard loyalists, one had to sell their bodies, sell their souls, and use drugs to control them. However, he still couldn't defeat Yap Liangshan. Why? Why was heaven so unfair? Chapter 1435. Zhang Xinyu looked at her in disgust. If I don't believe Great God Yi, would I believe a slut like you? Who do you think you are? A lowly slut who crawled out of our mountain-breaking sect, hooking up with and using men everywhere. Now, you're even more debauched and shameless. A slut like you has the nerve to be compared to our Great God Yi? Lu Ruoxuan glared at Zhang Xinyu. Intense killing intent and twisted hatred burst out from her eyes. However, she quickly shifted her gaze and looked at Mayan, sneering. Yi Liangshun, it's very simple if you want to prove your identity. Can't you just ask Tianguang Su to verify your identity? Once Tianguang Su verified his identity, his true identity would be exposed. Lu Ruoxuan was certain that Yi Liangshun wouldn't dare to do so, so she made such a request. As expected, the people from Fengtian Academy and Lingwu Academy became excited. Their main purpose in coming to Tianguang Su was to find out Yi Liangshan's true identity. Now that Lu Ruoxuan provided them with such an opportunity, how could they not seize it? That's right. Why are you the master of Azure Sky Academy? If you want to prove your identity, then let Tianguang Su verify your identity. Lu Ruoxuan stared at Mayan sinisterly. Yi Liangshan, let me reveal your true identity? Even if she lost this competition, as long as she knew Yi Liangshan's true identity, she would still be able to kill him in reality. Mayan listened to the commotion of the people below with an indifferent expression. Of course, she wouldn't reveal her true identity, but she had ways to prove herself. With a flick of her wrist, 3 tokens appeared in her hand. The 3 tokens were red, yellow, and blue respectively. One side of the token was carved with a strange giant beast, namely Mortal Sky, Mortal Star, and Mortal Spirit. The other side was carved with 4 words, namely Lord of Nirvana, Lord of Linglong, and Lord of Soaring Sky. When the 3 tokens appeared, the scene fell into a brief silence. Then, the crowd burst into an uproar. It's the Nirvana token. I've seen it in Senior Brother Lu's hands before. Ha! You guys actually dare to doubt our Great God Yi. Apart from Great God Yi, who else could gather 3 Azure Sky tokens? At this moment, there was no doubt about Yi Liangshan's identity. However, there were also people who were unwilling to give up. Yi Liangchen, if there's nothing shady about your identity, why didn't you let Tianguang Su verify it? Yes, these 3 tokens look real, but maybe they are forged by you? Go to hell. Why don't you forge 3 clear sky badges for us to see? The people in front of the shop were arguing endlessly. Time passed by slowly. On the talisman rankings, the gap between Yi Liangchun and Bing Ruowu didn't shrink. Instead, it grew bigger and bigger. There were only 6 hours left before the end of the glorious Heavenly Light classification competition. Lu Ruoxuan lowered her eyes and revealed a smile of success. However, at this moment, suddenly, a white light falls from the sky and falls on mine. Then, above Mu Yan's originally empty head, several large, glittering golden words appeared. The Lord of Azure Sky, Yap Liang Chen. Almost at the same time, everyone in the Tianguang Ruins heard a dull mechanical voice. Tianguang Ruins unique special class certification issued. The leader of the Green Cloud sect, Yi Liangchen. Yi Liangchen's identity has been verified. Titles will update in real time. Chapter 1436. There was a dead silence in front of the dad is the best in the world shop. Even Mu Yin is dumbfounded. What the hell? She didn't ask Tianguang Su to authenticate her identity? Moreover, didn't they say that Tianguang Su's identity authentication would definitely reveal the real information of the authenticator? But why did she only announce the name Yi Liangchen? You are the first host. It is natural to give you this privilege. A stiff and immature voice suddenly rings in her ears. Mu Yin is startled. She looks around, but finds that no one else has any reaction. Only she can hear this voice. First host? Are you talking about me? Mu Yin asks in her heart. She doesn't expect anyone to respond, but who knows that the stiff and immature voice immediately says, Yes, I am Xiao Tian. I finally meet the first host again. Mu Yin. Xiao Tian, did you get the wrong person? And what the hell is the first host? However, the stiff and immature voice just calmly says, The first host hasn't woken up yet. Xiao Tian is just greeting you. I wish the first host a happy time here. And level up soon. Xiao Tian, Xiao Guang, and Xiao Su miss you very much. Wait a minute. What Xiao Tian, Xiao Guang, and Xiao Su? What first host? Can't you explain it clearly? However, there is no more voice in her mind. And the crowd in front of the shop, because of the short silence, has completely boiled over. This time, no matter how Lu Ruoxuan and those people with ulterior motives instigate, no one will believe or listen anymore. Everyone desperately rushes to the shop, frantically buying talismans. Even Tianguang Su has authenticated the identity. What else is there to doubt? Lu Ruoxuan grits her teeth and rushes to the reincarnation square, watching Yi Liangchen's points rise all the way. The gap between them has increased from more than 3 million points to more than 1 million points, and then hundreds of thousands of points. Now, there are only a few tens of thousands of points. With this little bit of points, it may not even take half an hour for him to catch up. No, I can't lose to that bitch Yi Liangchen. Lu Ruoxuan screams. Announce to me that the price of the immortal talismans will be increased. 1 immortal talisman will be sold for 2,000 high-grade crystals. The male cultivator standing next to Lu Ruoxuan is shocked. 2,000 high-grade crystals? How is this possible? Many people have already gone bankrupt in order to buy the immortal talismans. If the price is raised again, I'm afraid they will only have a dead end. I don't care whether they live or die. Lu Ruoxuan smiled cruelly. In any case, they have used the immortal talisman. Even if they die, they will continue to use it. Since you're going to die, you might as well contribute all your crystal stones to me. I will never lose to Yap Liangchun. The price of the immortal talisman suddenly rose. This caused the gap between Lu Ruoxuan and Mu Yin to widen a little. Because of the crazy increase in their points, their names actually entered the top 20. On the other hand, the unusual movements of the talisman list finally attracted the attention of the fans of the other lists. Number 20, Bing Ruowu, Talisman. Number 21, Yi Liangchun Talisman. What was up with this year's glorious heavenly light? There are actually two people on the list of talisman puppets that are close to the top 20. The top 20 of the overall ranking would be able to participate in the finals of the Flourishing Heavenly Light. Chapter 1437. Not to mention the top 20, even the top 100 of the talisman ranking had never been seen before. Are the people on the talisman ranking of the Flourishing Heavenly Light crazy? They actually bought their way into the top 20. But those are only 4 or 5 low-level talismans. What's the use of buying so many? Are these people's brains broken? Haha, no matter what they do, the first place this year will definitely be the Yaodai Fairy of our pill ranking. I think that the young Master Ian of the refining ranking also has the power to compete. As for those two on the talisman ranking, so what if they enter the top 20 of the overall ranking? This is already their limit. In the last 2 hours, the battle for the last 2 places in the top 20 of the Flourishing Heavenly Light ranking was white-hot. Yi Liangchun's points were closing in on Lu Ruoxuan several times. But Lu Ruoxuan forcibly pulled him away by sucking the blood of the users of the immortal talismans, even though he had entered the top 20 and could participate in the final selection. But the people in the old man's number 1 under the world shop were still very anxious. If she lost to Lu Ruoxuan, then Mayan would have to kowtow when she saw Lu Ruoxuan in the future. Only Chu Moli was calm and unperturbed, his face full of a smile of wisdom. Third senior brother, there's only 1 hour left. What other trump card do you have? Quickly use it. Chu Moli slowly picked up a pastry and put it in his mouth, then said with a smile, Little Seven, don't always be so impatient. Look at little junior sister. She's not in a hurry. Mine took a sip of water and chuckled in her heart. That's because I know that third senior brother is abnormal enough. Lu Ruoxuan's methods are really far from being comparable to you. Lung Yuma anxiously paced around. Oh, third senior brother, don't keep us guessing. Time is pressing. 1 hour is just right. Chu Moli glanced at the sky and smiled slightly. Almost at the same time, a mechanical and stiff electronic voice resounded in the Tianguang ruins. Announcement, the whole district announcement. Tianguang Ruins Special Certified User, Yi Liangchun, has issued a district announcement. Whoever purchases the talismans of the old man's number 1 under the world shop in the next 1 hour and reaches the top 3 in spending will have a chance to drink wine and admire flowers with young Master Yun Xiao in the Tianguang Ruins. I'm just passing by. I can't miss it. If you miss this opportunity, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Tianguang Ruins Special Class User Yi Liangchun is fully authenticated. You definitely won't suffer any losses or be fooled by your purchase. Pooh! Muyan spits out a mouthful of water. If she could, she wished she could shatter a boulder on her chest and let her blood splatter everywhere. Third senior brother, you, are you kidding me? Mayan's hands tremble as she points at the smiling man in front of her. She really wants to rush over and strangle him. When did I agree to make this announcement? Chu Moli tilted his head and said with an extremely gentle smile, Didn't Junior Marshall's sister give me full authority to handle the matter of climbing the rankings this time? I have Junior Sister's letter of authorization in my hand, and I'm one of the owners of the old man is the number 1 under the heavens shop, so I naturally have the right to make the announcement on behalf of Junior Sister. Muyan almost spits out a mouthful of old blood. Chapter 1438. Thinking of this, Muyan couldn't help but shiver, because she also thought that it was fine if little Marshall Uncle knew. If Diming Ju comes back, he'll let her know that he didn't use his name to swindle her, but used Xiao Shirshu's. Diming Ju must be itching to swallow her whole. I'm dead. I'm really going to die because of third senior brother. Muyan wants to quickly call Little Tian to cancel this announcement. However, the crowd outside the shop had gone crazy. The street that had calmed down because everyone had bought enough talismans once again became crowded with people, rubbing shoulders with one another. Mayan is standing in the extremely soundproof inner berth, and she can hear the hoarse shouts of the people outside. The opportunity to drink and admire the flowers with young Master Yun Xiao is mine. No one is allowed to snatch it from me. For young Master Yun Xiao, I am willing to go bankrupt. Aren't they just talismans? Bye. Isn't it just crystals? Give it to you. You must let me see young Master Yun Xiao. Chumoli opened the message and saw the message sent by Elegant Brother from the Reincarnation Square. He chuckled and said, "Oh, how could he be on par with Lu Ruoxuan so quickly? It felt like he hadn't even started to exert his strength yet. Isn't it too easy to win?" Mayan wipes her face with her hand and sits back in her chair. His face was calm, as if he had nothing left to live for. What's so great about it? Isn't it just letting little martial uncle hold a fan meeting? Wasn't it just someone's jealousy that would drown the entire Alcade branch? It was nothing motherfucker flips table. It would be a miracle if he wasn't amazing. She really wanted to kill third senior brother, this bastard. Ding dong, time's up. I hereby announce that the Tianguang Ruins quadrennial grand event, the Flourishing Tianguang, has come to an end. First, we'll announce the top 3 of the categorized rankings. Next, it's the list of the top 20 in the glorious Heavenly Lights finals. First place, top of the elixir list, Lung Yuyao. Second place, top of the crafting list, Inze. 18th place, 6th place, Cheng Guangji. 19th, the top of the talisman list, Yi Liangchen. Rank 20, rank 2 on the talisman list, Dancing Like Ice. The finals of Flourishing Tianguang will be held in 3 days. The rules and competition rules of the finals will be announced at the Reincarnation Square. Please check it yourself. Finally, Tianguang Ruins wishes everyone a good result in the finals. Yi Liangchen supporters went crazy when the final ranking list of Golden Tianguang was announced. Especially Elegant Brother and the other die-hard fans of lousy #1 in the world. All of them arrogantly ran to the front of Cloud Lake to show off their prowess. Looking at Wang Jinbin, dejectedly kneeling in front of him and calling him Grandpa, Elegant Bro only felt indescribably comfortable. Grandpa hates people from the Wang family the most. I'll record this scene with a photographic talisman. He would definitely be overjoyed if he showed it to his grandfather. Easy Bro pointed at Wang Jinbin and laughed. My good grandson, our wager is even, but your Bing Ruo Misty dance still hasn't kowtowed to our boss Yi. Oh no. I mean, every time you see our boss, you have to kowtow. Bang. The item in Yun Lake's hand was suddenly kicked away. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.